Well, the Old Trafford scene is set for the final quarter-final. 12-time FA Cup winners Man United against Fulham, losing cup finalists only once in their history. Teams are in the tunnel ready to come out and soak up what is an amazing atmosphere, as always, here at Old Trafford. It's live and exclusive and only on Talksport, this one, Manchester United against Fulham. Alongside me, Mickey Gray. We now know semi-final draw is done. The Manchester Derby FA Cup final is still on.
It certainly is, Adrian, and I think a lot of people obviously around this area would love that to be the final. It'd be so exciting, but there's still work to be done. Manchester United know how important it is to get a big result against Fulham this afternoon. It's going to be difficult. If you look at the stats, it won't be difficult. Fulham shouldn't have actually turned up, but it is going to be a very difficult one this afternoon, no doubt about that.
Well, listen, it's going to be hard in terms of getting through to a final for whoever wins this one. Brighton awaits. We've just seen them demolish League Two opponents. We know how good Brighton can be, but it's all about getting the job done here for Manchester United, and both teams have gone strong.
Yeah, absolutely. A few changes for both sides, but I think you look at the 11s that both sides have picked, they're certainly going out to win the football match, and they've got to try and win it after 90 minutes if they possibly can, because what awaits is an opportunity to go to Wembley. And I think, look, this is me, I'm not thinking about Manchester United, but what an incredible story Brighton have been this season. They've been fantastic in the Premier League, they've had a brilliant season under De Zerbi, and I think fitting will be for them to actually get to Wembley. Look, it's not as easy as that. It's going to be a tough one against Man United, who have made this place into a fortress again at Old Trafford, but they're so exciting to watch. And they deserve probably to get to Wembley themselves, just to top off a brilliant season. But as I keep saying, it doesn't happen that way, does it? You have to work for it.
Yeah, Fulham have had a great season. A couple of dodgy results recently, but Paulinho's been suspended. He's back today. William was out against Arsenal. He's back today. Two of their best players this season.
Yes, yeah, they've got William. I mean, William we know all about. I mean, he's got great ability, hasn't he? We saw him many years playing for Chelsea. He's got great ability. He just needs half a yard and he can score fantastic goals. And I was just talking to Jim off-air about Paulinho, and if I thought he thought he was a good player, and he said he's top class, and I actually agree with him. He's got great energy levels. I think he fitted into the Premier League absolutely perfectly. He's got that aggression about him, but he's also got that calmness. And we've seen some of the wonder goals that he's actually scored this season from outside of the 18-yard area. He's got quality, and you can only see him playing for one of the top sides in the Premier League. There's no disrespect to Fulham, but I think when the transfer window opens in the summer, he'll be top of a lot of the sides at the top of the Premier League's list.
Stone Roses have been playing, crowd have been rising as the two teams are out on the field. The handshakes taking place right now. Manchester United have one domestic trophy in the cabinet already. They'll want to add the Emirates FA Cup to that Carabao Cup. Fulham have never won the FA Cup, but rarely have they had as good a season as they're having right now. Winner takes on Brighton in the semi-final. It's Manchester United against Fulham. It's only on Talksport, live and exclusive, with your commentary team here at Old Trafford of former England fullback Mickey Gray, alongside Jim Proudfoot.
Thank you, Adrian. Good afternoon to you, and welcome to Old Trafford for the latest obstacle in Manchester United's treble chance. The League Cup's been delivered. Severe await in the Europa League quarter-final, but before their return to Andalusia, the small matter of a last 8 tie in the FA Cup. Some turnaround this from those dark early season days. Well, this date in the diary has become an almost annual event. Only once in the last 9 seasons have Manchester United failed to get this far, even if their record of clearing this hurdle is checkered. But if cup quarter-finals have become a formality for United, they remain a novelty for Fulham fans, who've had to wait 13 years to see their team make it through to round 6. Appearances at this stage of the FA Cup have been isolated, and 2 of their last 3 have culminated in defeat to United. Can they buck that trend today and make it through to the last 4 for the first time since 2002? Well, Fulham will go through their side in a moment. Manchester United lining up with David De Gea in goal. The back 4 of Wan-Bissaka, Maguire, Martinez and Shaw, who replaces Malacia. McTominay and Sabitzer are coming into the midfield in place of the suspended Casemiro and Fred. Sancho preferred to Pellistri on the right, Fernandes at 10, Rashford on the left and Weghorst up front. Fulham, Leno in goal, Tete Diop, Reen and Anthony Robinson, Reen and Paulinho, deckled over Reed, Pereira and Willian and Mitrovic. And the referee today is Chris Kavanagh, who took charge of Fulham's win in round 5 And he's in round 6 duty, watching them again. Well, since Erik ten Hag arrived at Old Trafford, his side have made it through all 11 cup rounds that they played at home and abroad. Can Fulham succeed where so many others have failed? A Wembley semi-final date with Brighton awaits the winners. Fulham, white shirts, black shorts, and they will get us underway. Making it from right to left as we look at it, attacking the Stretford end in this first half. And the Fulham support vociferous before the game started. Away to our right-hand side of the scoreboard end of the ground. That's the end that they're defending. Manchester United in there. Traditional colours, red shirts, white shorts, black socks. They kick from left to right. And alongside me is Mickey Gray.
Afternoon, Jim. Afternoon, everybody. Well, what a tie we've got in hand in front of us here at Old Trafford. Two sides that really want to get themselves into the semi-final. They know what awaits, I'm sure, in the dressing room before they actually came out for this kick-off. They know exactly who's waiting for them. It's up to both 11s just to go out there and give absolutely everything. What an occasion. Brilliant. Old Trafford, the stadium is absolutely full to the rafters. Great atmosphere. Let's hope we get a fantastic game.
Kenny Tete throw for Fulham to Mitrovic on the right-hand side of the United penalty area. And he's got past Martinez, gets to the byline, in towards Pereira. And he's won an early corner, just a minute in. How Andres Pereira will be fired up for this one, a man who made 75 appearances in almost a decade at Old Trafford with Manchester United, which did include an FA Cup quarter-final in a red shirt. Now against them today, a man who's become a permanent fixture in this Fulham side. Having won the first corner, he will go across to take it.
Yeah, good start from Fulham. Mitrovic, he's a lot more than just an 18-yard box player. He likes to get involved in the play. Put himself to the byline. Decent ball to the near post.
And what can he provide here? Mitrovic trying to get free of his marker, making a run in towards the penalty spot. Maguire headed it away. Willian will pick it up. Find the flame-haired Reed. Back from him to Robinson. And towards Willian again, who played against Manchester United the last time they got to an FA Cup final. Was on the winning side that day. Looping header is from Issa Diop. And it's just helped over the bar by De Gea. This has been an excellent start from Fulham on the front foot from the very off.
It's probably the start that Marco Silva was hoping for, that from his side up, getting themselves on the front foot, asking questions of this back line of Manchester United. It was a bit of a loopy ball to the back stick, but Wan-Bissaka got caught underneath it, lost his footing a little bit, and the last person you want that to fall to is Diop with the size of him, and he asked the question to David De Gea.
So another Fulham corner, their second of the opening 2.5 minutes. Palhinha making a darting run in towards the near post. Mitrovic had a little bit of space behind him as he shoved to the ground. The on-pitch decision is no penalty. Play continues with Robinson sending a long diagonal out of the Manchester United left, where firstly Fernandes gets a touch and then Luke Shaw hammers it away. Willian brings that down expertly on halfway because it went a huge distance up in the air, but he killed it instantly on his right foot under pressure. And Tim Ream has it now to find Harrison Reed. Reed will play it back to the American centre-half, who's undergoing something of an Indian summer in his career. That'll be played forward now towards Palhinha and now towards Robinson. Good early possession still from Fulham. Hoping to take advantage of any potential tiredness from Manchester United after their trip to Andalusia in the week, where they saw off Real Betis so comfortably on aggregate. Sandro Martinez has it now, bringing it outside the penalty area. But Manchester United haven't been able to string any passes together in Fulham territory so far, with 3 minutes gone at 0-0, Mickey.
Yeah, you're completely right, Jim. They've not really got going. They haven't got out of their own half. Couple of little panicky situations for them, but that's all down to the way that Fulham have approached the game.
And now Harrison Reed has intercepted a ball played forward. Deckled over, Reed finds Willian, and Robinson plays it in from the left-hand side of the box. Doesn't quite break Willian's way. Manchester United living on their nerves defensively in the early stages, and they're grateful to hear the referee's whistle go. In fact, it's a throw won by Marcus Rashford on the right-hand touchline. They're still hemmed in inside their own half. It's Wan-Bissaka lays it back for Maguire here. Ream comes to meet it, and now Manchester United begin to make some steady progress down the near touchline, their right-hand side. But Fulham, the brighter of the two teams through the opening 4 minutes here on Talksport.
Yeah, in the early stages of the game, I mean, Jadon Sancho and Marcus Rashford have pretty much been playing as fullbacks. They've not been able to get out of their own half. They're giving the ball away. They've been really scrappy. We know they're a counter-attacking side, and they try and use that pace as much as they possibly can, but it's been all Fulham. And going back to that situation with Luke Shaw and Mitrovic in the box, Jim, I mean, Luke Shaw's got to keep his arms down. We know that Mitrovic will play on that. Any contact in the 18-yard area, you know he's not going to get his head on the end of it. He will go to ground in the last questions.
Now there is VAR for this tie. It's Neil Swarbrick who is on duty today. Maguire turning the ball back for David De Gea. De Gea playing out from the back down the left-hand touchline here. Play towards Scott McTominay, recalled to the Manchester United side today in the absence of the suspended Casemiro. Again, Fulham able to turn over possession very easily in the midfield. Pereira to Robinson. Willian making a run down the left-hand touchline for him. Well, back he goes towards Tim Ream, and Palhinha turning very easily to get away from Bruno Fernandes, and it goes out of play for a Fulham throw.
Well, I'm just looking at that midfield area, Jimmy, you just mentioned there before. It's really condensed, and when Manchester United get on the ball and anywhere around that centre circle area, you can see Palhinha, Ream, they're in the faces of the Manchester United midfield players, not giving them a second on the ball, and are making it really difficult for Manchester United to get the ball down and play the football that they want to.
Wan-Bissaka taking a throw, and then immediately closed down by Willian when he got the return ball. Maguire back for Lisandro Martinez, and now Maguire has it again. United's home record mightily impressive, unbeaten in 21 games here at Old Trafford. They have won 17 of their last 18 cup games at home and abroad as well, including each of the last 11 here, in which time they've averaged nearly 3 goals a game and scored 4 times as many, more than 4 times as many as they've conceded. So Old Trafford has become a cup fortress, certainly since Erik ten Hag has been here. They had that aberration early on in the Europa League campaign against Real Sociedad, which ultimately didn't cost them, but they've been foot perfect on home soil since then in cup ties, and hardly dropped a point in the meantime in the league either.
It's incredible, isn't it? And, you know, the Manchester United of last season and maybe even a couple of seasons prior to that as well, you could see them having a disappointing performance and a disappointing result. But I think this season, Jim, when that's happened, they've bounced back. They've showed that character which Erik ten Hag keeps talking about all of the time.
Now Palhinha winning it back in the midfield, and Pereira will drive forward. A little reverse ball to Mitrovic on the edge of the penalty area. Back for Willian, who cut across it and fires wide. Another excellent Fulham move, though. Turning over possession relatively high in the midfield, and that's been one of the fundamentals of the game inside the opening 8 minutes here. And doing so then getting Pereira forward, and ultimately it was Willian that had the shot, but he couldn't hit the target.
Yeah, it's been so impressive. I mean, you look at the forward line, Pereira's pushing on. They're not letting Manchester United play out from the back. They're on the front foot. They've caused Manchester United 2 or 3 little scares at the moment, and they're getting closer. Great opportunity for Willian there. Should show a little bit better quality. He's got more time than he thinks.
And Manchester United can finally bring the ball forward and get it into Fulham territory. It's the first time in the game. We're 8 minutes in. Marcus Rashford has it. Coming in off the left flank to find Jadon Sancho. Sancho working down towards Bruno Fernandes. Clipped inside the box. Diop heads it away. Robinson with his weaker foot, his right, can only sky a clearance. And then Bruno Fernandes mistimed his jump, and Willian caught him. Fernandes has stayed down. Wan-Bissaka with a lovely step over. Keeps Manchester United going. Sancho looks at the referee asking if he's going to stop play. Chris Kavanagh shakes his head. So Sancho puts the ball out so that Bruno Fernandes can be assessed and receive whatever treatment is necessary.
I mean, I've got to be honest with you, Jim. Yeah, we don't know how bad Bruno Fernandes is. It looks like Willian's knee goes into his side. But if I'm Manchester United and I'm Jadon Sancho and I'm 22, 23 yards out, I'm not kicking the ball out. I'm waiting to see out what happens. Jadon Sancho's got the chance to run into the 18-yard area and maybe cause a problem to this back line of Fulham. Look, I hope Bruno's okay. Nobody wants him to be obviously coming off the pitch on a stretcher or anything like that, and I'm sure he will be after he gets his treatment now. But you've got to take the game to Fulham. That was the first chance that they've really had to take on this back line of Fulham, to ask questions of them. Bruno, of course, yes, he goes to ground, and we hope he is okay. Sancho's got to just be a bit more stubborn, I suppose. Take the players on, finish off their move, and then see what happens with Bruno after that. Well, it's not a head injury.
Sorry, Mick. This is the last of 3 FA Cup games that we're bringing you here on the Talksport network today. Manchester City won 6-0 yesterday. Sheffield United saw off Blackburn 3-2 in a thriller at Bramall Lane. They were 2-1 down relatively late in that, but came back to win 3-2. They will play Manchester City in the semi-finals. Brighton beat Grimsby 5-0, and they will play the winners of this one. Manchester United against Fulham, which is 0-0 10 minutes in. You're listening to Manchester United Fulham in the FA Cup quarter-final, and it's live on Talksport with Carling, the official beer partner of the Emirates FA Cup. 18 plus, please drink responsibly. And Fernandez has made his way off the field after a little bit of medical treatment. He's still bent over and he's feeling his rib cage, but he's going to be okay. He'll make his way back on. And Fulham restored possession to Manchester United by punting it 70 yards upfield for David De Gea. So United have it back, but way adrift in terms of territory from where they were when Sancho had put the ball out of play so that Bruno could receive the treatment that was necessary. Still not moving with a great degree of ease, but I think he's going to be all right. Wan-Bissaka running into trouble. It's a beautiful flick from Pereira back for Willian, who had initially turned the play over, and then McTominay just about survives a challenge from Reed, but Willian's in there, and so too deckled over Reed, snapping away and getting it back from Sabitzer. Manchester United haven't got going in the midfield at all so far. Maguire can volley the ball clear as it was punted forward towards Pereira. Robinson then turns it intelligently through towards Mitrovic. Maguire in strongly to dispossess him, and now Weghorst will play it forward, and Rashford will try and go up through the gears, but Tete and Ream converged and get it back for Bernd Leno, who can clear. Yeah, well, I mean, Marcus Rashford, we know with his pace, he's going to try and get in behind, and Weghorst is just going to try and play that little bit more pace on it to give Marcus the chance to run in between the centre-half and the full-back. From what I've seen in the early stages, Jim, I don't know if you agree with me, I think United are struggling on this right-hand side. The quality of the passing has just not been there from Harry Maguire and Aaron Wan-Bissaka. I think they've given the ball away 4 or 5 times, and there's no composure. Harry Maguire there just punting the ball as far forward as he possibly can, not trying to bring the ball down, not thinking about playing into his midfield areas, just really nervous start from the back line. And now the excellent Palhinha winning it back for Fulham, can drive forward, lay it off for Mitrovic. He turns it out to Bobby Deckled over Reed, who's by the corner of the penalty area. Tete on the overlap, gets it in. Mitrovic attacking it, just beaten to it in the air. And Bruno Fernandes smuggles it clear from the edge of his own penalty area. Intelligent ball from Sabitzer down the left-hand touchline to get Manchester United going 3 against 3 for a moment. Rashford laying it off for Weghorst. Weghorst with a shot, and it's a really tame effort straight into the hands of Bernd Leno. Oh, he's got to do better. I mean, it's the perfect scenario for Manchester United. Counter-attack, brilliant play from Sancho, lovely ball down the line for Marcus Rashford, who then just waits for his moment to play that ball to Weghorst. It's a super first touch, but it also falls onto his weaker left foot. But he's got to get a lot more pace on it. He's got to play it more into the corner. He's got to ask a bigger question of Bernd Leno in that Fulham goal, but that's a huge chance for United. Those are thoughts of the former England defender Mickey Gray here at Old Trafford. We're 13 minutes in on Talksport. Manchester United 0, Fulham 0, playing for the right to meet Brighton in the FA Cup semi-final. Those semi-finals, incidentally, both take place at Wembley on April the 22nd and 23rd. We'll have them both live for you on Talksport. Mitrovic dropping very, very deep, and Lisandro Martinez had followed him every step of the way, just gave Mitrovic a little shove. Martinez then backpedaling, got it away from the next instalment of the battle between the pair of them. Deckled over Reed wins the loose ball. Little 1-2 with Diop. And then Deckled over Reed, slams it forward down the right-hand touchline where Harrison Reed has made a run through the midfield, putting the pressure on Martinez, and he's beaten him. Now can he find anyone in the middle? Reed getting to the byline, look for Pereira. It was cut out at the near post by the retreating Sabitzer, and out of play for a corner. But Fulham much the better side with 13 minutes gone at 0-0. Absolutely. I mean, if there is one big concern about Martinez, I think it's when the ball is played over the top of his head there. You could always see he was panicking as he was running back. Fantastic from Fulham to get to the byline eventually. And he didn't even ask the question whether that was a foul as he was brought down. But just got to be stronger as a centre-half. You've got to try and stay away from your marker. Try and clear the ball as quick as you possibly can. Doesn't get any of that right. Yes, there is contact with his ankles. There would have been maybe a question mark over that one, Jim, if it actually continued and they'd scored. But you have to be stronger as defender. 6 Fulham players inside the penalty area, but the corner was too low and flat. And Bruno Fernandes at the near post could head it away. Played back though by Robinson. Ream getting it into a dangerous area right across the 6-yard box, and nobody from either side could get a touch to turn it in. Any Fulham player there at all, and they would have been 1-0 up.
What a ball. Absolutely first class. Not getting closed down quick enough. Aaron Wan-Bissaka's got to get closer, but super ball from Tim Ream there. Whipped it round with his left foot, a lot of pace. Where's your forward player? Somebody has to try and get on the end of that.
He's waited 11 years to get back to an FA Cup quarter-final, Tim Ream. His last back in his Bolton days in 2012. A player who, in Fulham's last Premier League campaign, was unable to make any kind of impression at all. Couldn't get in the team, but he's now started 75 successive league games. He's undergone something of a renaissance. Fulham going as strong as possible for this FA Cup quarter-final. And the team selection thoroughly justified inside the opening 15 minutes, albeit that they haven't been able to find a breakthrough and get a tangible reward for their dominance up to this point. Bobby De Cordova-Reid has laid it back through the midfield for Ream inside the centre circle, and now out towards Willian. Willian, who missed the last league game because of a back problem, finding Robinson, whose cross is headed away. Bruno Fernandes, Weghorst, no foul on him, and an angry reaction when a free kick wasn't given. Ream will pick it up again in the midfield. Manchester United just haven't got going. Bruno Fernandes, the referee doesn't let that one go. Foul on Reid, and a free kick, which Fulham will take about 5 yards in for the right-hand touchline, 20 adrift of the edge of the Manchester United penalty area. It's goalless on Talksport.
16 minutes into the game, Jim, and United just haven't got going. It's been a really scrappy start from then, and it's all down to the away side, Fulham. Full credit to them. They're taking the game to Manchester United. A minute ago, super move down the left-hand side, which I love to see, which was Robinson, the overlap and run, Willian playing the ball down to him, great ball into the area, again asking questions of this back line of Manchester United, and that's all they have to keep doing. We know how dangerous Mitrovic can be. If you keep putting a service in there, he'll eventually get opportunities and he'll eventually score goals, but they have to try and capitalise on this. The dominance that they've got so far, they've got to top it off with a goal if they can.
6 Fulham players around the edge of the penalty area, and another really disappointing set-piece delivery from Pereira. They never went more than 3 or 4 feet off the ground. He gets another opportunity now, and that one barely went 3 or 4 inches off the ground. And then, as Manchester United threatened to get the ball forward quickly, Pereira pulled his man down. He sprinted away from the situation, having made the initial foul challenge. Chris Kavanagh wasn't going to let him off with that, and it's a justifiable yellow card.
Well, probably still frustrated from the lack of quality that he showed from the 2 opportunities that he had to put decent balls into the area. You saw the pace of Marcus Rashford as Manchester United were breaking. He had no choice. He had to pull him down because Rashford was the other side of him, grabbed hold of him. Chris Kavanagh, he had to give him a yellow card.
The first player in the book, it's his 8th yellow card of the season, Pereira, as Maguire has the ball about 20 yards inside his own half. Wan-Bissaka will play it for us. A beautiful ball down the inside right channel. Bruno Fernandes, that isn't such a good ball. And it was easy for Bernd Leno to take a couple of steps outside the 6-yard box and get down and smother far too close to the keeper and away from Weghorst.
Well, Bruno's better than that. Great ball from Wan-Bissaka down the side. And Bruno Fernandes, once he lifted his head up, he could see that run of Weghorst. He was coming towards the near post, couldn't really get away from his marker. Was hoping to try and stay on side, but also Jadon Sancho as well. But Bruno's, he's just got to wrap his right foot around that, and he's a better player than that. We know he's got the quality.
And Fulham will play out from the back. It was a little bit nervy for Diop, but he got away from Sancho's press. And Sancho and Rashford alternating flanks on 2 or 3 occasions already inside the opening 18 minutes of this game. You're with Talksport. Live and exclusive for national radio from Old Trafford. It's Manchester United 0, Fulham 0. Fulham the better team if you're just joining us, although possession is, broadly speaking, 50-50. It's certainly been Fulham that have had the better chances. One delicious ball through the penalty area from Tim Ream, causing problems. But neither goalkeeper has had a difficult save to make. The header tipped over the bar early on by David De Gea, denied Diop. Anthony Robinson's done very well, just steps away from the challenge of Bruno Fernandes, and Rashford forced to come back in defensive duty to curtail the run of the sprightly American. and he's put it out of play straight into the dugouts. It's a throw to Fulham on halfway.
Well, Anthony Robinson is a player that really impresses me. Obviously plays in a position I used to play in a lot myself, Jim, and I love to see full-backs trying to get over the halfway line, and he's got great pace. But Marcus Rashford is the player who is obviously tracking back, and he's the one who's winning the challenges against him. It's something that Marcus probably doesn't want to do in his own head, but at the minute, because of the way that Manchester United have started the game, he's probably defended more than he's attacked.
Don't you think Robinson's quicker than you?
Oh, just a little bit.
Yeah, you are 58 though. The ball is over on the far touchline. It's a free kick which will be taken by Fulham. And another opportunity here to swing the ball in. Kenny Tete, the man that was brought down. And it's imperative really from this kind of situation, if Fulham are going to have any joy, they've got to get the set-piece delivery at a much higher standard than it's been so far.
Yeah, without a doubt, you're completely right. And Pereiro's got a wonderful right foot. But the couple of set pieces that he actually has tried to put in the area, he's just got no height on it, and it's given Manchester United the opportunity to break on them, so he needs to get this one better.
So the usual suspects forward, and he's got more air underneath this one. It's bounced awkwardly, but Wan-Bissaka knocks it away on the half volley, out only as far as Willian. Manchester United a little bit tardy in getting the defensive line out. But no harm done, because Robinson picked it up on halfway, didn't fancy his chances of being able to deliver anything more than a fight ball, so he actually went back for Bernd Leno. Leno drives it forward. Wan-Bissaka retreats, as do the rest of the United defensive line. Mitrovic getting goal side of Maguire, who has pulled him down, and that also will be a yellow card.
Yeah, and rightly so as well, Jim. I mean, Harry Maguire, it's about, look, he's an experienced centre-half. It's about reading the situation, knowing who you're playing against. Mitrovic likes to get you tight. He likes to feel you alongside him, and then what he'll do is spin. And that's exactly what he's done there from Harry Maguire. Harry Maguire's got no thought of trying to win the ball. He's just getting in behind the centre forward. He gets it completely wrong, shoves him down to the ground, and he has to give him a yellow card. It's just poor defending.
Well, he's only made 3 Premier League starts since August. Harry Maguire starting successive games this week. Having been in the starting lineup in Betis, or away to Betis the other day. Pereira with this free kick. Ream turning it round the corner. And the idea was right. The execution of a set-piece practice on the training ground wasn't, as everyone was expecting an aerial ball played in. It was just low to the retreating Ream, who turned it first time forward for Decordova-Reid, but too much strength on it, and it just ran out of play for a goal kick.
Well, look, I like the idea of it, but I think when you look at the height that Fulham have and the quality that they have aerial, I mean, with Mitrovic and the size of Diop, I think that was a great opportunity, Jim. I don't know if you agree with me, just to put it in the danger zone.
Here's Lisandro Martinez, one of the smallest centre-halves that there is around. Back for Harry Maguire. Maguire lobbing it out of the left-hand side for Luke Shaw, one of the 4 Manchester United players recalled today. Fulham making 3 changes. It's Wan-Bissaka on the United right, back towards the edge of the area. Bruno Fernandes in towards Weghorst, who's just got a couple of goals in his Manchester United career so far. Decordova-Reid knocks it away. Pereira was there for the counter-attack. Mitrovic couldn't find him. Martinez did well. Weghorst with a little layoff. Sancho ran straight into Harrison Reed. Weghorst mops up, and Wan-Bissaka will take up the cudgels again. Little step over from Shaw. Fernandes out to the Manchester United left here for Marcus Rashford. United's leading scorer bending it in, and Weghorst on the stretch couldn't get there. And then Leno realised that he was worried about Weghorst making contact, and that the in-swing on the delivery from Rashford might send it inside the far post. He was rooted on his line, but the ball went wide.
Well, as a striker and somebody who hasn't scored a lot of goals since he walked through the door at Manchester United, how brave do you want to be? Great ball in from Marcus Rashford, but I'm looking at Weghorst. Can he stretch his right foot out? Can he actually go with his head? I'm not saying that he would have made any contact with it, but at least it would have asked the question. It was like he pulled back at the last moment, but a brilliant ball in from Rashford.
Weghorst made his debut at Crystal Palace and has started every single Manchester United game since then. Ball in towards the near post at the other end, with Pereira always getting forward in support of Mitrovic. He made that near post run, but Manchester United repelled the threat. Sabitzer can help bring it away. There's a foul then by Diop on the far touchline, and Manchester United grateful again for a little bit of respite. We've got the first quarter of the game behind us. Remember, extra time and penalties on the agenda if necessary. It remains 0-0 with 24 minutes gone. I'm in the company of Mickey Gray.
I mean, there's certain individuals in a Manchester United shirt that we want to see a lot more of. But the one that I'm looking at right now, Jim, is Savitzer. And he hasn't played a lot of game time lately. He's came in, he's tried to obviously get himself as fit as he possibly can, but I think the game just seems to be passing him by.
Robinson finds Joao Palhinha. 15 yards outside the penalty area. Out towards Kenny Tete, and then straight back again. And then the Dutchman is played in again, works it back inside his own half for Diop. Now Harrison Reed bringing it forward. Reed with a lovely little pirouette and shimmy, and he's got past two, and he's trying to find Mitrovic, who goes down. Tangle of legs with Martinez in front of the Stretford end, and Chris Kavanagh says no penalty.
Well, again, I talk about that contact with Mitrovic inside the 18-yard area. Look, I don't think it's a penalty, I really don't, but the play from Fulham before it is absolutely superb, but then your question mark's got McTominay as a midfield player. You've got to do better. You can't let players just glide by you like that. Looks like we're going to have another yellow card, or something's happening here in front of us, Jim, as well. But these are the problems that Fulham are causing Manchester United, because they've been sloppy in that midfield area. They're not doing the jobs right, and it's given Fulham the opportunity to get themselves on that half turn and play that reverse ball or the through ball into Mitrovic, and he will cause any problems to any defence in this Premier League, and he's certainly doing that this afternoon.
Well, Mitrovic is back on his feet, having spent a long time on the deck inside the penalty area after the challenge. Reed, on the other hand, might have a more serious problem. It was simply majestic from him, the way that he pirouetted through the midfield, and then there was an injection of pace. I just wonder whether he potentially aggravated his hamstring in the process. He's back on his feet now, and he's making his way back to the centre circle. He's okay, he's going to be able to continue. Just a little twinge. Marco Silva, with 25 minutes gone, will be much the happier of the two managers.
Absolutely. I hope Harrison Reed's okay. He started the game very well. But I must admit, Jim, I've not seen anybody run off a hamstring problem before, and he was hanging on to it just as we got underway again there. So I hope he is okay.
McTominay wins a free kick for a foul by Willian. Wan-Bissaka takes it, goes back for Maguire. Harry Maguire in the England squad. England in Naples, away to Italy Thursday night, and we will be there on the Italian coast, talking through the action from the Stadio Diego Armando Maradona. It's Italy-England, the first of the Euro 2024 qualifiers, and it's live on Talksport with a 7:45 kickoff. That's this Thursday. Between now and then, Barnsley against Sheffield Wednesday. A Yorkshire derby with plenty at stake. Wednesday still top of League One in wonderful form. Despite dropping a couple of points on Friday night. Barnsley, Sheffield Wednesday at Oakwell. Tuesday night is our next live football. That kicks off at 8 over on Talksport 2. Mitrovic playing the ball forward, away from Decordova-Reid though. Out of play for a Manchester United throw. 10 yards inside Fulham territory. It's Harry Maguire finding McTominay, who brings it inside the centre circle, down towards Aaron Wan-Bissaka. Wan-Bissaka is 10 yards inside his own half. Doesn't play a forward ball. He had Sancho wanting it into feet, but he elected instead to play it back towards Maguire. It's a little bit pedestrian to my eyes, Mick, when Manchester United have it. Fulham offering a lot more dynamism when they have the ball. That was another case in point. And as Fulham work it forward, Mitrovic wins the aerial battle against Lisandro Martinez, which you would expect. Decordova-Reid, then forward in towards Pereira, who'd made a run past Mitrovic, but McTominay's won it back.
Yeah, in point in cases, it's options. Aaron Wan-Bissaka picking up the ball in the full-back area. You say he's got Sancho to play to, but then you've got McTominay and Sabitzer in that midfield area, who are basically turning their head away from the ball, as if to say, just bypass us. Play it into Weghorst and we'll play off the scraps from Weghorst. Now, that's not Manchester United. And it's all because of the way that Fulham have started the game.
Mitrovic applying the press. Martinez and De Gea got involved in a little game of piggy in the middle that they really didn't want any part of at all, but they survived it and bring it away. And then Willian has outpaced Aaron Wan-Bissaka over the space of about 5 yards to come back and win possession back for Fulham. Leno turns it forward, Maguire whacks it straight back, and then the offside flag is up against Jadon Sancho. Free kick to Fulham. But when they press, and Manchester United have the ball at the back, there is a nervous tension on the Stretford end.
Well, they're pressing with a purpose, Jim. You know, it's okay, you're seeing individual players starting to close down and press a full-back or a centre-half of Fulham if you're a Manchester United player. But Fulham players, when they go in a press, they're going in 2s and 3s. They're making Manchester United panic at the back. Look, that calming influence of Varane is not there. You can see on a couple of occasions Harry Maguire, when he's had time to bring the ball down and maybe play out from the back, he just doesn't want to at the moment. He's trying to grow into the game, but he can't do that. You've got to try and get the ball down and show your experience, then bring your midfield players into play, get the ball out wide, because Marcus, we know he's obviously flying at the moment, he's one of the best players in Europe, but you can't give it to him every single time. The other players have to step up to the plate, but to a man, Fulham are just working harder.
Robinson back for Ream. Ream taking it forward towards halfway. There's space for Willian. United just seem to be half a second off everything at the moment. And towards Kenny Tete. Right-footed ball hits Luke Shaw. Loose ball cleared on the edge of his own penalty area by Sancho, who covered the ground quickly. Robinson then heading it back forward again, but straight at Lisandro Martinez. Martinez putting his foot through it, whacking it long, and very nearly finding Rashford. Tete stumbled, which just gave United an opportunity potentially on the counter-attack then. The ball not quite good enough. The idea is certainly right from Martinez to play a low pinged ball into space. But he just beat Rashford to the touchline.
But yet again, Jim, it's that ball from back to front. We know that Martinez has got the quality to do that and try and find Marcus.
Now Pereira, the space for Anthony Robinson on the Fulham left. Looping ball in, Mitrovic. And his header goes over the bar. He's under pressure from Martinez. Maybe jumped a little bit too early, Mitrovic. And he couldn't keep it down. It's gone over the bar by some distance, but a half chance.
The space that Fulham's fullbacks are actually getting in the final third of Manchester United's half is really alarming, because we know that Jadon Sancho and Marcus Rashford don't want to track back and help the full-backs out, which has given Robertson on this left-hand side so much space, and with the pace and the quality that he's got, he's put 2 wonderful balls into the box. This time Mitrovic got his head on it, just a little bit too high for him, but more opportunities he gets, and Mitrovic starting to grow into the game now.
Bruno Fernandes inside the centre circle. Sabitzer have made the third man run forward. Fulham knock it away easily, and Kenny Tete will advance towards halfway. Bruno Fernandes did well, slid in, one possession back. Martinez, good ball from him. Weghorst first time layoff. Sabitzer to Rashford tight angle, far too tight. Bert Leno can make the save and flick it back into Rashford, now to play for a goal kick.
Well, just in a blink of eye you can see the quality that Manchester United have got when they go through the gears. Playing a lovely little through ball there for Marcus. First touch just got away from him a little bit. You know, he's so quick, but I think he would have liked that one a little bit closer to him, and then he would have given him options to maybe even pull that one back into the 6-yard area. But that's the threat that Manchester United have on the counter-attack.
And they have only won this competition once in 19 years. And I use the word only advisedly when you consider the stature of the club. De Gea and Rashford both played that day in 2016, last final against Crystal Palace. That's the only success that they've had in this competition for nearly 2 decades. Rashford, 10 goals in his last 12 Premier League games, chasing now down the left-hand touchline. Harrison Reed's knocked it away from him. He must have come close to going out of play for a throw, judging by the reaction on the far side. It has gone out for a throw now, and it's actually been given Fulham's way. And United players, Sabitzer in particular, just asking the question of referee Kavanagh. But the decision is a Fulham throw, and Tete will take it.
Just trying to ask the question of where that leadership from Manchester United is going to come from today, Jim. I know that Bruno Fernandes has obviously been wearing the captain's armband, but Harry Maguire coming back into the side has taken that role. Is he feeling like a captain because he hasn't been involved in the first team for a long time, albeit, in midweek, of course, but is he being commanding in that area? Is he demanding the ball from his back line? Has he got that understanding alongside Martinez? And is he pulling Wan-Bissaka in along beside him? Because at the moment they seem to be at 6s and 7s. It's defence against attack, and there's no midfield. It's just everybody's just playing for themselves.
McTominay heads the ball away. Martinez out to Rashford on the Manchester United left again. It's back behind McTominay. But McTominay just plays the way that he's facing and goes back for David De Gea. United unbeaten in the last 14 meetings of these two sides. That was since a 3-0 loss at the Cottage back in 2009 when Murphy, Zamora and Duff beat Sir Alex's side. Fulham actually beat United twice in that calendar year, but those remain the only wins they've had in the last 29 meetings of the two sides. They've not won here since Lee Clark, Steve Malbronk and Junichi Inamoto were all on target 20 years ago. But they've laid a solid foundation here, albeit that none of the attempts have been stellar ones. They could justifiably point to being the better side. Manchester United slowly feeling their way into the game. Rashford's ball inside the penalty area here is knocked away on the half volley by Anthony Robinson. And then Maguire in his yellow boots plays it forward towards Wan-Bissaka. Wan-Bissaka to Sancho. Wan-Bissaka with a low cross, hits Robinson. Wan-Bissaka drags it back, flicking his right foot up, almost can-can dancer style to bring it down. Then he's dinked back over the top for him. And Bruno's ball just with a little bit of topspin, hit the deck and scooted away. And before Wan-Bissaka could cross it, it's gone out of play for a goal kick. We've got 10 minutes to go to half-time. Manchester United 0, Fulham 0.
I think that move pretty much summed up Manchester United's first half so far. Albeit they've had a couple of little spells with Marcus Rashford down that left-hand side, the half opportunities without Weghorst. But Wan-Bissaka there wasn't really expecting the little give and go from Bruno Fernandes. It was if I'll play the ball to Bruno Fernandes and I'll just watch what he does with the ball, maybe expecting him to whip the ball into the area. He didn't do it, and then there was a reaction too late for Wan-Bissaka to maybe even keep the ball in play. But it just sums the way they've played so far in the game.
Without Weghorst, fouls Polina, and the free kick will be taken immediately by Diop. I'm not sure the ball has actually stopped, but Chris Kavanagh not too pernickety. There's no advantage gained by Fulham as a result of that. Out towards Ream and back for Leno. And then out towards Tim Ream again. And Ream sends it forward, left-footed. Mitrovic comes to meet it, little chest trap from him. All Robinson could do was keep it in on the left-hand touchline. Maguire won the second ball against Mitrovic. Manchester United bring it forward. Weghorst on the half-turn. Now to Bruno Fernandes. Red shirts flooding forward quickly, including Luke Shaw coming around the back. And Tete's defensive header was essential. Goes out of play for the first Manchester United corner of the day.
Yeah, better from Manchester United. Even from back to front, Harry Maguire starting to read the situation, making Mitrovic into a battle, wins the header. Lovely play down the right-hand side. Great ball into the area from Bruno Fernandes. He had a lot of time to pick out that run from Luke Shaw. And nearly, inches away from getting on the end of that. It was a super ball into the area.
It's a left-wing corner. And it's a right-footed in-swinging delivery from Bruno Fernandes. Weghorst coming to meet it, just didn't get anything on it. Leno at the near post, grateful to be able to get his angles right and knock it away as Maguire was bearing down on him very quickly as well. Turn forward again for Luke Shaw, and Leno comes out and gathers this one cleanly. Shaw would have been offside. And play continues with Leno punting it forward upfield. 8 to go to break on Talksport. It's 0-0 with Bobby De Cordova-Reid. Forward towards Pereira. Pereira coming in off the right-hand touchline. Mitrovic and William are both lurking around the edge of the box, but just ran down a blind alley for a moment there. Pereira has won a throw, which will be taken nearer the edge of the penalty area than the edge of the centre circle. Tete might actually nick a couple of yards before delivering this. The one frustration for Marco Silva will be that they've had this dominance and they haven't worked David De Gea sufficiently whilst they've been on top, because with Manchester United's impressive home form you suggest that they're not going to be able to be on top for 90 minutes and haven't made the most of the advantages that they have created for themselves.
Yeah, you're completely right, Jim, and being here quite a few times this season, they have started this way in the first 45 minutes. It's as if they need a half time and maybe a kick up the backside from Erik ten Hag, and they come out in the second half and they react to that, and then they just put on a show and they just breeze past teams. But you can't keep doing that, because eventually it will catch up with you.
It's Shaw forward into the feet of McTominay. This is the first game of Casemiro's latest suspension. It's a 4-game domestic ban, which will rule him out of the trip to Newcastle. Matches here at home to Brentford and Everton as well. Bruno Fernandes Had Rashford in space on the right, went for the central option, straight to Willian. Willian getting it forward quickly. Mitrovic, good challenge, Martinez. Well, there was very little margin for error right on the edge of the penalty area. Won it cleanly, stopped Mitrovic turning and getting into a shooting position. But it was another example of Fulham turning over possession far too easily.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the last thing you want is Martinez 1v1 situation. Look, we know he's very good in that position, but going to ground, he just missed that time, that challenge. Referee has to give a penalty, but once they do win the ball back, Bruno Fernandes, he's got to stop trying this wonder ball every single time he picks up the ball in his own half, because sometimes that pass is not on. And you just got to play 2 or 3 little short passes, work your way up the field, and then he can show us the quality that he has. The crowd are getting a bit frustrated. Sorry, Jim. The crowd are just getting a little bit frustrated, aren't they? Because I don't think they're enjoying what they're seeing. We know that Manchester United on the break, blister and pace that they have, not seen it enough.
Sabitzer, straight at Leno, and he gathers at the second attempt. Brunner just popped it off to the left-hand side, and it was well struck by the Austrian, albeit that it was straight at the goalkeeper. And he got his hands behind it and then kept his balance to be able to gather before Wout Weghorst was in a position to make the most of anything on the follow-up. Goes down as a shot on target, but little more than that. United have now had 3 attempts on target, Fulham just the 1, despite the fact that, as we've been saying, we feel that Fulham have been the better team so far. Possession broadly level as well, actually marginally in United's favour. Now Ream has played Rashford onside. Rashford making his way through the middle. Sancho in possession, left-hand side of the penalty area. Sabitzer making a run on the overlap. Sabitzer in behind Rashford, and Robinson and Willian are able to clear.
Oh, what a chance. Great move again, left-hand side. Looks like it's going to come to nothing now, but the last 30 seconds, Sabitzer, and he needed it. He needed to grow into this game. It was a super strike from him, but then was involved in the ball across to the 6-yard area. And I don't know if Marcus Rashford saw that late. Yes, it came under a couple of legs and maybe he didn't think it was going to actually get to him. Brilliant play. Lovely reverse pass from Bruno Fernandes this time to get the move going. Marcus Rashford in form like that, just hoping for a ball just to fall to him in the 6-yard box. Has to go down as a really good opportunity.
Well, that's Mickey Gray alongside me, Jim Proudfoot, here at Old Trafford. It's live and exclusive for national radio on Talksport. It's 0-0. 3.5 minutes to go to half-time. Maybe up to a couple of minutes to be added on at the end of the first period. On a day when extra time and penalties are on the agenda. We haven't had extra time in any of the FA Cup quarter-finals so far. Wins earlier today for Sheffield United, thrillingly, with a stunning stoppage time winner from Tommy Doyle. Sheffield United beating Blackburn by 3-2. Brighton saw off League 2 Grimsby very handily. 5-0 the result on the South Coast. Manchester City won yesterday. Manchester City Sheffield United is the first FA Cup semi-final. Sorry, one of the FA Cup semi-finals. And should I say, it hasn't been decided yet which way round they're going to be. Manchester United's will be against Brighton if they get through. But it could be Fulham Brighton in the FA Cup semi-final. Yeah, we're 3 minutes from half-time, and it is still 0-0. These two most recently met in an FA Cup quarter-final back in 2009. Manchester United won 4-0 at Fulham. Very easy winners that day. A couple for Carlos Tevez, one for Rooney, one for Park. The last 8 times they've been drawn together in the FA Cup. Manchester United have gone through. They're making hard work of this one. Pereira finding Willian on the corner of the penalty area now for Fulham, laid off for Palhinha. There's a little deflection on the shot, almost broke Decordova Reed's way inside the penalty area as a result of that. Martinez heads it away. Willian trying to bamboozle his way into a crossing position on the Fulham left. Laid it back for Robinson. He wins the throw off Sancho.
Yeah, I mean, it has to be worrying how easy Fulham are getting in behind the midfield and in behind Manchester United, because Willian's shown great quality on this left-hand side. Palhinha, we know if you give him half a yard at the edge of the 18-yard area, he's got a wonderful strike on him. It just seems to be last-ditch challenges all of the time to clear the lines from United.
McTominay playing it forward and giving it away, as you might be able to judge by the crowd reaction. Willian back for Reed. It doesn't seem to have any problem with the potential hamstring injury that we'd identified about 10-12 minutes ago. He was down receiving treatment for a while, but no harm done seemingly, able to continue. Sure, he'll be assessed again by the Fulham medical staff at half-time. Well, that's an area where Fulham have been on top. Reed, Polina and Pereira dominating against McTominay, Sabitzer and Fernandez. Here's Ream, blonde-haired American, played forward. Willian with the layoff. Pereira getting his right foot underneath it, flighting a ball out towards De Cordova-Reid. Luke Shaw heads it away. Fulham have a throw midway inside Manchester United territory in the last scheduled minute of the first 45.
I just wonder, Jim, if Erik ten Hag gets in at half-time and he maybe changes that midfield system. I don't think he'll change the personnel, but I just wonder if he just gives it a little bit of a tinker and maybe brings in Weghorst and just drops him in and maybe plays Marcus in a more advanced position, which he has done in the past. But they're just bypassing Sabitzer. They don't want to give him the ball. McTominay keeps giving the ball away, and Bruno Fernandes in his own half has been pretty sloppy, I've got to be completely honest, albeit he showed a little bit of quality in the opposition's half. But Fulham have been quality. I mean, I said before, to a man, they're working harder than Manchester United. As you said before, they need to create more opportunities.
Polina getting away from the retreating Weghorst. Laid off for Tete. Tete can't get into a shooting position. When he does ping one in, he goes wide of De Gea's near post. And a play for a goal kick. And we've gone into 2 minutes of stoppage time at the end of the first half. It's still Manchester United 0, Fulham 0. This is a Fulham side as well, remember. Lost the last 2 games. They were very much second best against Arsenal. It was at Craven Cottage last weekend. Now, they missed Willian and they missed Joao Polina. Both back in today, and they've made a huge difference as far as Fulham are concerned. It's well documented that they have lost every game they played all season when Polina hasn't been in the starting lineup. But back today, this has been a completely different performance from them, a much stronger, much more dynamic, much more self-belief about Marco Silva's men. Leno will clear towards halfway. Mitrovic wrestling with Maguire. He's ended up flat on his back, and Marco Silva very dismissive of the decision not to give his side a free kick. Just makes an exaggerated gesture of pushing his right hand down through the air. The ball's gone back for Bernd Leno, and Ream will play out from the back.
Harry Maguire has to know before this game kicks off that he's in for a battle today. Because if you think about the 2 centre-halves, Erik ten Hag's probably said to him, look, I need you alongside Mitrovic as much as you possibly can. Let's make it into a scrap. Let's make it hard for him to hold the ball up. And if we can do that...
Oh, here's Sancho inside the edge. Back for McTominay. It's deflected off Ream and wide. And Manchester United's best chance of the game has come right at the end of the first half. Fulham guilty of giving the ball away. And Manchester United, in the blink of an eye, getting it forward. Turn around the corner for Sancho. Good 1-2 between him and McTominay. And the return ball from the Scotsman didn't really hit it with any conviction. And that allowed Ream to make the block.
Well, can he hit this first time, Scott McTominay? Look, I mean, there's a corner coming in now. But again, Martinez wins the ball high up. When that ball's laid off from Sancho, I think it comes back to McTominay perfectly to hit the ball first time.
Corner taken short. Shaw to Sancho. Willian winning it back from Bruno Fernandes, and that will be the end of the first half. 0-0. Fulham have been the better team, though Manchester United carving out a decent opportunity right, Mickey, at the end of that first period.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It was a big opportunity from pretty much a poor first 45 minutes from the home side, but take nothing away from Fulham. They look organised. They're obviously at it this afternoon. They want to try and get themselves into that semi-final if they possibly can. I think the only criticism I've got for them is creating more opportunities, because they put some lovely balls into the box. They've got themselves into some great positions, but I think there's work to be done for Erik ten Hag at half-time, whether it's a system change, but he has to do something if they're going to change the way that this game's going in the second 45 minutes.
Well, it certainly hasn't been the formality the bookmakers' odds would have had you believe at half-time. Manchester United 0, Fulham 0.
And Erik ten Hag went sprinting down the tunnel. He's got things to say to his team at half-time, no doubt about that. And we have been spoiled, I suppose. 16 goals in the 3 FA Cup quarter-finals so far, none in the first half here at Old Trafford, and not a lot of good football. And actually, Mickey Gray, you could say the best ball into the box has come from Fulham's 35-year-old centre-half, Tim Ream. Nobody got on the end of it. There's been a distinct lack of quality in the game so far.
Yeah, there has, Adrian, and even from set pieces, if you think about the wide free kicks that Fulham got themselves into some really good areas. The corners have not been up to the standard that you'd probably expect. When you think about the height that Fulham have got with certain individuals, I talked about Mitrovic and the threat he is in the air. You've got to give him a chance to get on the end of things, and Diop being another one as well. So I think that has to improve in the second half. Look, I think think they've been a better side, albeit I don't think they created too many opportunities, but they just look like they're at it more. Man United started a bit languid, if you like, and they're just bypassing that midfield area. Sabitzer's not really got himself into the game until he had that strike 2 or 3 minutes before the end of the game. That was probably his first big part in the first 45 minutes, but Bruno Fernandes has been a culprit of giving the ball away. Scott McTominay, they played too many long balls for me, and it looks like they're just searching for Marcus Rashford because he's in such a vein of form at the moment. Let's play the ball to Marcus. Let's play the ball to Marcus. You can't keep doing it. The other players in the front line have got to come up and they've got to answer some questions themselves, but let's hope they improve in the second half.
That's been some good stuff from Fulham on occasion, but let down by that final ball. I say the Ream ball was good, and it was a really good ball. It was a grass cutter. From the other side, the crosses in have been truly atrocious. Marco Silva has been going potty in the technical area. Every time a cross has come in, it's not really been a cross, and it's been not got past the Man United first man.
And if you remember, Adrian, they had that free kick just around the edge of the 18-yard area, and instead of putting it in the area, they tried to play something clever, which we saw in the World Cup from the Netherlands. It didn't work. I think if you've got an aerial threat, you have to use it. You have to ask questions of Manchester United's backline. Look, Robinson's put 2 great balls in on the left-hand side. Mitrovic got on the end of one, but it was just a little bit too high for him. But what worries me is how much space they've been given. Robinson down the left-hand side, then you look at Tete on the right-hand side. Man United defenders have got to try and get closer to the markers, and if they don't do that, they're going to get caught out.
Yeah, not just the defenders, those defending in attacking positions and tracking back as well, which seems to be optional at the moment. A quick word on Harry Maguire. He's playing right side centre-half. He's been used to playing left side centre-half. You and I were here for the West Ham FA Cup tie that Manchester United came from behind to win. Maguire played well in that, and Erik ten Hag spoke about him afterwards. I was in the press conference afterwards, and he said that he's working one-on-one closely with Harry Maguire. He said this week that he's really happy with the progress Maguire is making. From what Erik ten Hag was saying about what he's doing in training Maguire, it sounds like he's completely retraining him as a centre-half. So sometimes I think he has looked a bit out of place. He's usually good at bringing the ball out, usually brilliant at passing the ball. At times he's just hoiked it into the air to get it into the opponent's half. That seems to me part of him transforming from a left side centre-half to a right side centre-half.
Yeah, possibly. I think sometimes when you look at Harry Maguire, you maybe think to yourself, right, what are we trying to turn him into? Do you want him to be a ball playing centre-half, or do you want him to have that aggression, which we saw on a couple of occasions when he challenged Mitrovic from behind? But I think there's that nervousness in his play at the moment where he doesn't want to make a mistake, where he should be coming out there because he's captain of Manchester United. He should be the one that's showing the confidence to everybody else, being that leader, passing on information to his teammates, but he's not. He's panicking a little bit, and I talked in the first half about having that calm and influence at the back. Well, at the moment it's Martinez. I know he's obviously used to playing with Varane alongside him, but Harry Maguire has got to grow into the game, and like he did in that first 45 minutes. There's going to be mistakes, Adrian. I think we know that. Well, Harry Maguire, if he wants to be a regular back in his first team at Manchester United, he's got to improve on that.
And, of course, there is that question about him with England where it looks like he will go back to playing left side. Stones on the right side as centre-half. So he's retraining as a right side centre-half at club level, being asked to do something different at international level. It's all a little bit strange. It's a strange time in his career, isn't it?
It's weird to say, isn't it, trying to organise or position somebody to play left or right centre half when you would think it was just a position where you stood in between the lines of the 18-yard box, cleared your lines, and when the ball came anywhere near, just tried to play out if you had time and space. Well, it's not, because your positioning's different as a left-sided centre half. Harry Maguire will have to chop the ball back onto his right foot at times, whereas right centre half, he's got different things in his mind that he has to think about.
It's really interesting, that technical side of it. And when he looks so good bringing the ball out, when he's a left-sided defender, which is what he's been, he's kind of using his shoulder, if you like, to to kind of guard the ball and offset opponents. So he can't really do that on this side, or he's got to learn how to do it from the other side, isn't he?
And it's quite hard. You know, they say you can't teach an old dog new tricks, don't they? And that's very difficult, because Harry Maguire may be set in his ways of the way he thinks he can play for Manchester United. But having to do that is difficult, because he's probably used to having Luke Shaw over on the left-hand side of him. Now he's got Aaron Wan-Bissaka, who's got a different game to Luke Shaw altogether. So your positioning's different. We know Luke Shaw's a better 1v1 defender than Luke Shaw. So all these things you have to filter into your brain, and very quickly, which I'm sure they've worked on in training. But the Harry Maguire I like to see is the one who wins it, who's commanding as a centre-half, who then plays out from the back, or he can run towards the centre circle. I'm not seeing that from him today. I'm not saying he's been the worst player, because he hasn't by a stretch of it. But I want to see Harry Maguire showing us how confident he is with his shoulders wide, being a captain of Manchester United.
Yeah, he's kind of retraining to be a footballer to a certain extent. And things I could do with my right hand, definitely can't do with my left hand. I can absolutely tell you that. I know how he feels. Right, Saudi Arabia Grand Prix well underway. Let's get an update from Fern Buckley.
The top spot back off Fernando Alonso, who'd fought into first off the line, a really dramatic start, but the Aston Martin was in the wrong position at lights out, so he's going to have to serve a 5-second penalty. 38 laps to go with Perez in the lead.
Thanks very much, Fern. Right, Brighton earlier on Talksport ended Grimsby's magical FA Cup run with a convincing 5-0 win at the Amex. Talksport's Joe Shannon spoke to the Brighton manager Roberto De Zerbi after the match and asked the Italian about teenage sensation Evan Ferguson, who netted a brace for the Seagulls in the win.
He's a fantastic player. If you think he's 18, you can understand, but I think he can improve. We are working for it, for his improvement, and he's a good guy, and I'm sure he become a great striker.
That's Roberto De Zerbi. Brighton through. They'll play the winner of this, Manchester United versus Fulham. Earlier, Sheffield United went through, and they will be taking on Manchester City in the other semi-final. Arsenal extended their lead at the top of the Premier League table to 8 points after an emphatic 4-1 win over Crystal Palace. Speaking after the match, the Gunners' boss Mikel Arteta was full of praise for his side's performance.
I really like the way we started, the energy, determination, then the desire to grab the game and dominate it and go for it, and I think we had some great spells where we actually, that's my opinion, where we won the game. There was moments in the second half we got a little bit complacent and give too many simple balls away again and allowed some transitions, but overall really pleased because we showed good consistency and a good level again.
Mikel Arteta, manager of Arsenal, 8 points clear at the top of the Premier League table, and Palace in crisis. Alex Crook with the interview there. He was at the Emirates today, and he's hosting the Boot Room tonight on Talksport when we're done, 7 through till 9. He's got an interview with the Arsenal captain Martin Odegaard after that win over Palace. Took them 8 points clear. Alex Crook with Darren Ambrose on Talksport from 7 to 9. Ambrose is an ex-Palace player. He's a Spurs fan. He's had a shocking weekend. It'll be a great show. Boot Room 7 till 9 tonight on Talksport. And that's after the second half here at Old Trafford, where it's Man United 0, Fulham 0.
FA Cup Live on Talksport with Carling, the official beer partner of the Emirates FA Cup. 18 plus, please drink responsibly.
Being a football fan can be hard. Grealish, forces the save again. A red, he's off. You just can't do that. And yes, offside by a nasal hair, no doubt in anyone's mind. Yes, being a football fan isn't easy. Fortunately, Paddy's most popular bet builder is. Simply choose a top pre-built bet builder, add to bet slip, select your stake, and done. It's as easy as a chicken balti pie. Paddy Power. Online exclusive. T's and C's apply. 18 plus. BeGambleAware.org.
I've never been a fan of wearing black at funerals. I want people wearing bright colours at mine. Might cheer everyone up a bit.
That sounds like a lovely idea. We'll add that to your funeral wishes.
With over 150 years' experience, you can count on Co-op Funeral Care to help you pre-plan the send-off you want. To find out more, visit your local Co-op Funeral Care or go to coop.co.uk/funeral plans. Co-op, it's what we do. T's and C's apply. Co-op Funeral Care is a trading name of Co-op Funeral Plans Limited, which is authorised and regulated by the Financial Conduct Authority.
Discover your fast track to Formula One with a Now Sports membership.
And it's lights out and away we go!
Cut to the chase and stream the new season live for just £21 a month.
Wow!
We're going to see some good racing.
Strap in and welcome along to the ride. Let's go!
Your shortcut to Formula One is now.
It looks beautiful. It is beautiful.
18 plus. Offer ends 19th March. Auto renews at £34.99 per month after 12 months and is cancelled. Sky Sports content streamed via internet. Full terms apply.
Can I have a 6-inch big beef sub, please, on Hearty Italian? And make it a meal deal.
Welcome to the Meal Deal Mega Wheel.
What?
Give it a spin. Is it a sub? A snack? Oh, you've won some Subway swag. Download the Subway app now for a chance to win one of 10,000 prizes when you buy a meal deal. The Meal Deal Mega Wheel. Subway. UK residents 18 plus only. Meal deal purchase required and prices may vary. Visit subwayrewards.uk for full T's and C's and price details.
In People's Postcode Lottery's April draws, one postcode area will win a share of £3.2 million.
And there's 30k to be won every Saturday and Sunday too.
Just sign up before midnight on the 24th of March to play.
PPL managed lotteries on behalf of good causes. 18 plus, conditions apply. Play responsibly, not available in Northern Ireland.
Be more CyberZen. Get NordVPN. Help avoid online trackers and malware-infected downloads. You could enjoy cleaner, safer, and more private internet daily. Be more CyberZen. Catch the special deal now at nordvpn.com.
There are lots of little things you can do to save money on your energy bill. Like turning your boiler flow temperature down to 60 degrees, swapping to an energy-saving light bulb, switching off unused appliances, dialing down the temperature on your washing machine, closing all of your curtains at night, and turning a radiator down in a room you're not using. On their own, they may not sound like much, but they all add up and could save you hundreds of pounds. Visit gov.uk/save energy for all of our energy-saving tips.
FA Cup Live on Talksport with Carling, the official beer partner of the Emirates FA Cup. 18 plus, please drink responsibly.
Game day. Get all the goals on your radio.
FA Cup Game Day Live
on Talksport.
Yeah, it's FA Cup Game Day Live. This is Talksport, and Manchester United 0, Fulham 0, exclusively live only here on Talksport. And here's the halftime highlights with Carling.
FA Cup halftime highlights on Talksport with Carling, the official beer partner of the Emirates FA Cup.
Good afternoon to you and welcome to Old Trafford for the latest obstacle in Manchester United's treble chance. But if Cup quarter-finals have become a formality for United, they remain a novelty for Fulham fans, who've had to wait 13 years to see their team make it through to round 6. Reed with a lovely little pirouette and shimmy, and he's got past 2, and he's trying to find Mitrovic, who goes down. Tanglo legs with Martinez in front of the Stretford end, and Chris Kavanagh says no penalty. Good ball from him. Beckhorst first time layoff. Sabitzer to Rashford tight angle, far too tight for Leno. Sabitzer making a run on the overlap. Sabitzer in behind Rashford, and Robinson and Willian are able to clear.
Well, that was all thanks to Carling, the official beer partner of the Emirates FA Cup. 18 plus, please drink responsibly.
FA Cup halftime highlights on Talksport with Carling, the official beer partner of the Emirates FA Cup.
So let me remind you what happened earlier today. FA Cup quarter-finals live on Talksport 2. It finished Sheffield United 3, Blackburn 2. A fantastic injury time winner from Tommy Doyle. Brighton 5, by the way. Sheffield United will face Man City in the semi-final. Tommy Doyle on loan from Manchester City. Brighton 5, Grimsby 0 on Talksport earlier. A couple for Evan Ferguson. So Brighton through to face the winners of this. Man United 0, Fulham 0. We're waiting for the players to come out for the second half in the Premier League. Arsenal 4-1 winners over Palace. Bukayo Saka with a couple of them. He's got to be player of the season, hasn't he? Another contender is Martin Odegaard. He'll be on the boot room 7 through till 9 on Talksport tonight. In the Championship, Swansea got a much needed win. They beat Bristol City by 2-0. First game after the international break is that South Wales derby, Cardiff against Swansea. Swansea looking to do the double on their Welsh neighbours for the second season running. And in the Women's FA Cup quarter-finals, Lewis 1, Man United 3, Birmingham 0, Brighton 2, Reading 1, Chelsea 3, and Aston Villa against Manchester City is a 6:30 kickoff. This is Talksport. It's your home for live football, your home for the FA Cup, and this is the only national station with commentary of this final quarter-final. I can tell you, Tuesday, Eddie Hearn and Simon Jordan live, head-to-head in the studio. Good luck to Jim White refereeing that one. There's no love lost there. That's from 10 Tuesday morning on Talksport. A couple of heavyweights, and there's a couple of Premier League heavyweights on show here today as well. Goalless, though, so far. Winner goes into the semi-finals to face Brighton here at Old Trafford. Man United 0, Fulham 0. Second half with former England fullback Mickey Gray alongside Jim Proudfoot.
And there are no signs of any changes ahead of the second half. Manchester United lining up. De Gea in goal, Wan-Bissaka, Maguire, Martinez and Shaw, McTominay and Sabitzer, Sancho, Fernandes and Rashford, and Weghorst up front. The bench, Lindelof, Malacia, Fred, Dalot, Anthony, Pellistri, Alanga, Mainu and Butland. Fulham, Leno in goal, Tete, Diop, Ream and Robinson, Reed and Palhinha, Decordova, Reed, Pereira and Willian and Mitrovic up top. And the Fulham bench, Tosin Adarabioyo, Wilson, Kearney, Solomon, Cedric, James, Lukic, Vinicius and Rodak. Chris Cava, who's booked Maguire and Pereira in the first half, will get us underway. Manchester United kicking from right to left, red shirts, white shorts and black socks. And they're attacking the Stretford end in the second half. I would imagine, Mickey Gray, that Erik ten Hag has told them exactly what he thought, and not necessarily at a low decibel.
Yeah,
either.
no, absolutely. You're completely right, Jim. Maybe just kick them into gear if you want to put it like that. But it looks like Bruno Fernandes is playing a little bit more advanced, a bit of just dropping into a bit of a deeper midfield area, just to try and get involved in the game a little bit more. I thought there might just be a little bit of a change, but see how that works out for Manchester United in this second half.
Now Pereira's hit the referee with the ball, and so it's an obligatory drop ball, and play will restart with Fulham in possession. Pereira inside the centre circle, then finds Ream, and Ream will take it out towards the Fulham left-hand side, where it's controlled by Anthony Robinson. Robinson laying it back inside his own half. Diop to Tete. And the Dutchman back for Diop again towards the edge of his own penalty area. And let's play back to Bernd Leno. Fulham have won 4 of the last 7 games in all competitions. They've seen off Hull and Sunderland and Leeds to get this far in the competition. Manchester United have won all 3 of their games here, and all by 3 goals to 1. 8 of the 9 goals they've scored in the cup run so far have come in the second half, and they're relying for post-half-time heroics again. Mitrovic has gone down, he's okay, he's back on his feet. That's a free kick to Fulham. We're 3 minutes into the second half, 0-0, and here's the former England defender, Mickey Gray.
Well, let's hope we see better quality, I think, from both sides in that final third. We've been quite critical of Manchester United, and rightly so, in the first 45 minutes, because we know they can do better. But Fulham also, when they've been in advanced position, set pieces round the area, have to do better if they're going to get themselves into that semi-final.
Now Mitrovic trying to do that and turn away from McTominay. It might break for Palhinha, who slides in. Robinson's going to be able to get there inside the penalty area. Willian with the layoff, and Robinson's effort is flicked over the bar. Corner.
Great chance from Fulham there. Sloppy again from Manchester United, not clear in the lines. Looked like Willian was just going to work that ball onto his right foot, couldn't get that half a yard. We know he's got that little whip with the right foot. Plays it to Robinson with his weaker right foot. He still has to question to David De Gea, but not the start that Manchester United wanted early on in this second half.
He's never scored a Premier League goal, Anthony Robinson. And just the 4 in his career so far, 3 of those 4 Fulham. Testing David De Gea in a big cup tie here at Old Trafford. 48 on the clock. McTominay, who's just winded there. He's in some discomfort. No need for any treatment from the medical staff, but a slight delay before the corner will be taken from the Fulham right-hand side. Now, Andres Pereira's delivery in the first half was easy to criticise. What will he be able to muster here? Left arm above his head, approaches the ball, better delivery, just evades Mitrovic, falls for Willian on the edge of the penalty area. Willian onto his right foot through a crowd of players. And De Gea forced to scramble and dive, and got a hand to it, and tipped it around the post for a corner.
Well, it'll be interesting to see how close this is. It's a perfect situation for Willian. Marcus Rashford should really be working him onto his left foot. He doesn't do that. Willian, we know he's got that quality from the edge of the 18-yard box, just works it onto his right foot. A lot of pace and whip. That's a great effort from Fulham.
Here's Willian again from the corner, which was worked short by Pereira. Willian getting to the byline, knocked away at the near post by McTominay, and it's actually swerved over the corner flag and gone out of play for another corner. Willian's only ever scored the 1 goal against Manchester United in his career. It came back in his Chelsea days. It was here at Old Trafford some 5 years ago, but he's forced the best save of the game out of David De Gea. And the Fulham supporters away to our right-hand side, who've got a very good view of these early skirmishes in the second half. A lot of them played down in front of David De Gea's goal. And Pereira will take this corner again. Robinson peels away inside the penalty area. Might find a way through for Mitrovic. Fulham take the lead, and it is richly deserved. A set piece that Manchester United weren't able to deal with. Marcus Rashford lies in a crumpled heap inside the penalty area, but it took a touch at the near post on his way through. Mitrovic slams it home from close range, and Fulham lead by a goal to nil as they look for their first FA Cup semi-final in more than 20 years. They're now only 40 minutes away from it.
And we talked about improving that set-piece quality in the second half, and certainly Fulham have done that. That's two wonderful corners from Pereira over on this right-hand side. The second one was actually a little bit low. Just waiting to see what's happened with Marcus Rashford here, whether they're coming together. But it's about being alert, waiting for that little flick on into the 6-yard area. It comes from Diop. Mitrovic is just unmarked. It looks like he gets away from Luke Shaw. And all he's got to do is make firm contact with his left foot. He does that, and the ball finds its way into the back of the net. Brilliant start to the second half for the away side. Something to hang on to now, but what a finish from Alexander Mitrovic.
It is the first goal he has ever scored in the FA Cup. In his 12th tie in the competition. His only previous goal against United back in his Newcastle days 7 years ago. But that's a moment that he won't forget in a hurry. 5 minutes into the second half, Manchester United 0, Fulham 1. Now remember, they have conceded in every FA Cup tie they played so far in this run, Manchester United, and have outscored the opposition comfortably on every occasion. More of a concern for them than the scoreline is Marcus Rashford. He's received a little bit of treatment, and he is coming off towards this near touchline. But under his own steam, he's going to be able to continue. He's just being reminded by the fourth official, David Coote, that he has to leave the field before coming back on. So he'll be back on in a moment, and he will play his part in trying to get Manchester United back into this cup tie. Because Fulham are 40 minutes away from Wembley, and a first FA Cup semi-final since 2002. Last man to score a winning goal for them in the quarter-final, Steve Marley. It was against West Brom back in, as I say, 21 years ago. And Fulham with their tails up. There's a blatant shove though on Shaw by Kenny Tete, who then will do his best to stop the free kick being taken quickly by nudging the ball away. The free kick that United will have in the left back position. They simply have to improve if they're going to get themselves back into this game.
Without a doubt, Jim. You know, you can't approach a game the way that Manchester United have done in that first half and think that you can keep coming out in the second 45 minutes and just breeze teams away. It's going to catch up with you eventually, and that's exactly what's happened. Fulham have come out the traps in the second 45 minutes. They've improved, their energy levels haven't dipped, and they just wanted it more. There was a little bit more hunger when they were in the 6-yard area from that cross, and Mitrovic just shoved away Luke Shaw, got away from his marker, that little half a yard. Well, look, from 2 or 3 yards out, when you think about how many goals he's got over the last couple of seasons, he's not going to miss from there.
That's his first goal in 10 games since he scored the winner against Leicester. As Bruno Fernandes at the other end fires wide. It was just played by Rashford back to him on the edge of the penalty area. And a play for a goal kick. First sign of encouragement really for Manchester United fans in this second half. Getting the ball forward with a little bit more purpose. But it's a goal kick that Fulham will take in no hurry with any of these restarts now that they have a 1-0 lead to protect. Manchester United 0, Fulham 1 on Talksport. Here's Mickey Gray.
It's amazing, isn't it, how many times, and not just today, where you see a side that were not performing well, it takes them to go a goal down before they actually spring into life. Even the crowd as well have just started to get involved in the game because they know, and I think they can sense, this has been a really poor performance so far.
McTominay's got it back in the midfield. Weghorst turning it out to Jadon Sancho. Sancho with the drop of the shoulder in for McTominay, getting towards the byline, forced away by Ream, laid back for Sancho. Many more bodies concentrated in that Fulham final third for a moment, but that means that when they turn over possession they can break, and they'll break quickly with Willian, and Pereira's busting a gut to stay up with him, and Mitrovic is in support as well, so too deckled over Reed, comes down for Mitrovic right hand side of the area. Manchester United have 6 back defending it though, Polina clipping it in, Pereira will bring it down on the top of his left boot quite beautifully. He's inside the penalty area, chips it in, Mitrovic watches it sail over his head, and out of play for a goal kick. 1-0 Fulham.
Well, it's such a shame that move, the counter-attacking move from Fulham, came to nothing. Again, Willian, he's been fantastic in the game so far. He's got energy, he's confidence, he's running with the ball, he's trying to make things happen for his team. He's had that shot in this second half, but he's just trying to make things happen, trying to see this game out. If they get the second goal for him, you can't see Man United get back into it.
Shaw plays it forward. Kenny Tete can knock it away. When they've been 1-0 down in games this season, Manchester United, they've almost remarkably won as many as they've lost. They've gone 1-0 down on 15 occasions. Lost 6 of those, they've won 6. And drawn the other 3. 2 of the wins coming against Premier League opposition. 4, I beg your pardon, 2 in the league, Everton and Manchester City here, and then Villa in the League Cup, West Ham in the FA Cup. They're going to have to do it the hard way again. It was something they made a real habit of last season, and were able to come back from 1-0 down on several occasions. They've got to do it here. Fulham, on the other hand, a decent record in league games when they've scored first. Lost to Arsenal and West Ham, but won 9 of the other 10. Haven't dropped too many points in the league from winning positions, only 8. Here's Tete with a throw for Fulham. We're midway inside the half that Fulham are attacking, and Tete's right in front of us as he just knocks it off to his left-hand side for Polina, who sends a ball out towards Willian that became a little bit awkward for him to control because he decided he was going to let it bounce, and then he scooted off the surface and straight past him out of play and over the line for a throw, which Manchester United have taken, and De Gea whacks it upfield. I think we'll see Anthony coming on very shortly for Manchester United. Thank you, Adrian. As deckled over Reed brings it forward. Luke Shaw knocks it away. Polina had been fouled. It's just a little delay before the referee put whistle to mouth, but it is a Fulham free kick, and it's in a good area as well. About 8 yards outside the penalty area, level with the right-hand edge of the box, and another opportunity for Pereira to find the man in white inside the box in a good position. 12 gone second half.
In a similar position to what Fulham had in the first half, where they tried to play a little intricate one just low into the edge of the D of the edge of the 18-yard area. I don't think they're going to be doing that this time. Looks like Pereira's standing in over this one, and he's just going to whip it into that danger area. We keep talking about the height and the threat, the aerial threat that Fulham have. This is a big chance.
So Diop is the deepest of the Fulham contingent there to attack this. Reams in there, Mitrovic as well. Pereira, plenty of height on this one, far too much height and pace. And it beat everybody and curved straight out of play for a goal kick. And Marco Silva dejectedly trudges from one side of the technical area to the other. Hands in pockets, he knows that that's an area they have to improve. But they lead 1-0. The change will be made, and Anthony will replace McTominay.
Yeah, so maybe a change in system. It looks like Anthony's drifting across to that right-hand side. Not quite sure where Marcus is going to play. It looks like he's going up front. I talked about this in the first half. I seen this a few weeks ago, Jim, where Weghorst wasn't the out-and-out centre-forward. He's dropped in behind Marcus Rashford just to try and maybe use a little bit more pace in those final third positions, and maybe hoping it works for him in the next few minutes, because at the moment Fulham are showing the energy. They're the ones who are getting into better positions. They're making it hard for Manchester United, and if you haven't got any quality, which we've not seen from United really in this game, it's there for the taking for Fulham.
So Anthony's playing on the right, Sancho on the left, Rashford through the middle, Weghorst as a withdrawn 10, and Bruno Fernandes now playing as a 6 alongside Sabitzer. Shaw's got possession, back 4 unchanged for Manchester United, and Martinez will lay back for David De Gea, former winner of this competition back in 2016. They have lost only 1 of their last 15 games in all competitions, Manchester United. The famous defeat, 3 defeats in 36 in all competitions, but work to do in this one, which will be played to a finish here. Wan-Bissaka chasing forward. He's down towards the corner flag, just stumbled, both hands down on the deck to try and steady himself, and got back to his feet to be able to find Anthony, who then wins a throw level with the edge of the Fulham box.
Well, when Manchester United just broke a second ago, Aaron Wan-Bissaka was the most advanced player for Manchester United. Bruno Fernandes dropping into the back line to try and play a 70-80 yard ball down the side. Decent enough ball, but they're all over the place at the moment. I'm not quite sure who wants to play where. It looks like there's three playing at the back at the moment, Jim, and Aaron Wan-Bissaka's playing a little bit more advanced himself.
Martinez inside the centre circle, shuttling forward with the ball. Intelligent pass from him out towards Jadon Sancho. Sancho controlling it. Opportunity for him to run at Tete. Tete showed him inside. Shaw, a little bit of wrestling going on between Shaw and Decordova-Reid. Bruno Fernandes plays it forward. He's expecting Sancho to make the run. He didn't, but hit a Fulham player on the way through. So Manchester United have their first corner of the second half.
Yeah, big opportunity now for Manchester United. We talked about that quality. Well, we certainly need to see it now from Bruno Fernandes. Harry Maguire, two centre-halves have gone up.
And played an hour, it's 1-0 Fulham. In comes the corner, and it'll be followed by another, as that one was headed away at the near post by Tete. So Bruno Fernandes just waits for the ball to be thrown back to him by an obedient fan in the Stretford end. He spots it down, the ball on the corner quadrant, raises his right arm above his head, takes 3 steps back, close to the photographers, now fires it in, and Bernd Leno catches it. Good claim. More frustration for the United fans.
It is, it's very good from Bernd Leno. Just look for that little bit of space in the 6-yard area. Lots of bodies in there. But too easy for him just to pick that one out of the sky. I'm thinking about centre-halves who were coming up from Manchester United. And over the last couple of seasons, Jim, you probably might know this better than me, but I don't think they've scored a lot of goals from corners. I think it was, remember, last season it was about 70 or 80 corners and they hadn't even threatened the opposition's goal.
Yeah, I don't know the exact stat. They did end up scoring 1 or 2, didn't they, from corners, but it was literally 1 or 2 over the course of the Premier League campaign.
And managers have said to me, as a player, as an ex-player, don't go up there just to make up the numbers. If you're going to go up into the 18-yard box, you're going to score. Yes, of course, you need the quality from the player who's taken the corner. This occasion, Bruno Fernandes on a couple. The first one's poor. It's at the near post. Is it something that they've worked on when you've got the people like Weghorst, Harry Maguire, Martinez, who scored a headed goal against Arsenal a couple of months ago? You know, it looks like they're just wandering up there just to make the numbers up to say, right, oh, well, I'm here, but I don't really want to score a goal.
Were you accused of making up the numbers many times in your career then?
Well, I've made, in an attacking sense, I never really went in the opposition, but I was probably more taking the corners. But defensively, I was probably stood against a post. The manager would say to me, right, stay half a yard away from the post, and if it comes anywhere near you, you just clear your lines. But I always used to say to the players alongside me, make sure your man doesn't score. And that was really important to us. You know, it's an individual battle at the end of the day, isn't it, when you go up to try and score a corner?
It brings to mind as Wan-Bissaka goes down, no foul, that old line from Gordon Strachan. And every time Klaus Lundekvam, the Southampton centre-half, pushed forward for a corner, he should have got a yellow card for time wasting. The ball is knocked away out towards the far touchline. Willian brings it down. Pereira back to him. And now Willian can drive forward with real intent into Manchester United territory. Wan-Bissaka holding him up but not winning it back. He actually fouled him. The referee's played the advantage. Tete, right-footed ball inside the box. Mitrovic with a looping header from fully 16, 17 yards out. It's under pressure from Sabitzer. De Gea caught it easily and bowls it straight out for Anthony to be able to bring it forward. We're 18 minutes into the second half. It's Manchester United 0, Fulham 1. With Mitrovic's goal on 50 minutes, the difference between the two teams.
Well, I mean, Willian's been absolutely excellent, hasn't he? Certainly in this second half. Every time he picks up the ball, he's trying to take on players, make something happen for his team. They put a lovely ball into the air, and there's the difference. Mitrovic, second best to win that header, just ragdolls Bruno Fernandes just to get half a yard to win the header.
Now Shaw looking for Sancho, and Tete has won it back and then bought the free kick. That's a jest from Sancho, but the decision has gone his way right down by the dead ball line. Manchester United unbeaten at Old Trafford in 21 games. They've won 18 of them. They've scored 48 in that run and conceded only 12, including Mitrovic's goal today. Now remember, they've won their last 11 cup ties here. A little bit of animation on the Fulham bench for a moment. Luis Boa-Morte just sprinted down from his seat and was having a few words with Marco Silva and then raced back again. Leno fires it forward. Mitrovic flicking it on. Slightly heavy touch from Decordova-Reid, but he's going to get there down towards the corner flag. Did Maguire shove him? Yeah, he did. And it's a free kick to Fulham, about 2 yards from the corner flag. And a disbelieving Maguire is in firm dialogue with assistant referee Scott Ledger, but the decision won't be reversed. And Fulham with another opportunity to double their lead.
Well, I mean, Harry Maguire can look at the linesman as much as he wants to, and he can wave his arms around, but as a centre-half, you've got Decordova-Reid exactly where you want him. He's not really going anywhere. The only thing he can probably win is a corner if he tries to play the ball off Harry Maguire. A shove in the back. You know what the wide player is going to do. He's going to go straight to ground, which then gives the linesman a decision to make. He obviously gives the free kick, and again, it's another dangerous opportunity for Fulham.
Pereira's going to take it. A right-footed away swinger. Mitrovic meets it. Great save, De Gea. Palms it away from the top left-hand corner. Great stop. Might have kept Manchester United in the cup, that. Here's Willian firing it in. Little flick. Mitrovic again with a header, and De Gea knew he was beaten, but it went wide. Fulham coming much the closer to the second goal of the game. They could easily have been 2-0 up there. That's an outstanding save.
Well, I've got to say, Jim, I actually think the second opportunity that Mitrovic has there is a better opportunity, and he misses the target with it. He's got nobody around him. He's just got to guide it into the corner. The first one, he gets on target, and right, it's a brilliant save from David De Gea to keep it at 1-0. Clutches it away, but that second ball, as that comes into the air, he's got nobody around him. And with the quality that he's got, Mitrovic, in the air, I think he has to do better with that. This is a big scare. This is a real scare for Manchester United. As I said before, if Fulham get this second goal, they're getting themselves into the semi-final. Man United have to find something deep.
Well, Anthony's won a free kick near the edge of the penalty area. Now this will be a yellow card. Was it Robinson that made the challenge? Over on the far touchline on Anthony. Just mistimed it. Left out a trailing left foot. And it's a yellow card for the American and a free kick to Manchester United. Will that Mitrovic miss be a turning point? Because 2-0 there. And it would have been hard to envisage Manchester United making a comeback. By no means impossible, of course, but they'd have needed 2 goals in 23 minutes to take the game to extra time. Credit to De Gea, and Mitrovic will be frustrated that he didn't put the second one away. So Manchester United, having conceded from a set piece, now have the opportunity to equalise from one. It's Bruno Fernandes, right-footed, he's laid it short for Jadon Sancho through a crowd, and goal kick given. It did hit someone on the way through, I think. Referee Kavanagh, closer than me, must have thought that it was a Manchester United player that it struck.
Well, it's clever. It's clever from Bruno Fernandes. Seeing that run from Jadon Sancho at the edge of the area. I think it was Anthony who was waving his arms around and his head was in the clouds, as if to say that the ball's actually come off him. Maybe Marcus Rashford as well, but they're both appealing for a corner, but unfortunately never got it. And you just listen to this crowd now, Jim. They're starting to sing and they're starting to get behind the team. But they needed to do it a little bit early because they're just not at the races, Manchester United. Look, they've been fantastic this season. They've got themselves in third in the Premier League. They've also got a trophy in the bag already. But another opportunity to get themselves to Wembley to play against Brighton in the semi-finals is passing them by.
Now Rashford chases, but Bernd Leno saw him coming and sprints off his line to the edge of the penalty area in order to make the save. Gather at the feet of Marcus Rashford after perceptive ball down the inside left channel, try to get Manchester United in. Back he goes for Leno, he will clear, right-footed, well over halfway. Shaw heads it away. Decordova-Reid tried to win the seconds, flicked it into Martinez, breaks them back to him, and he plays it forward towards Pereira. Willian to Robinson. Robinson wins the corner as his cross is blocked by Wan-Bissaka.
Well, if you watch the way that Fulham are playing, every single time they get on the counter-attack, they're making 2v1 situations with the fullbacks against Aaron Wan-Bissaka and Luke Shaw down this left-hand side. Willian has been excellent. He's been so clever, the positions that he's taken up. He knows that run from Robinson's going to come from the outside of him on the left-hand side. And again, it's last-ditch challenges from Manchester United to clear their lines, but excellent play again from Fulham.
So another corner. And it's Fulham's 7th of the game, and it's going to be taken on the left flank by Pereira, and De Gea just had it headed out of his hands by Maguire. Not in a position really to take any chances there. Back in again from Pereira. Tete climbing high, but it was Weghorst who was there with his compatriot. He got the dominant touch. Manchester United will bring it away, and Bruno Fernandes has released Antony, and Sancho is in space, and he's rolled him in, and Jadon Sancho takes it wide of Bertleno, and it's cleared off the line by the retreating Willian. How on earth did he make that ground back as quickly as he did to be able to make the goal line clearance? But what did he make it with? Was it his arm, or was it his rib cage? Manchester United players have immediately surrounded the referee and are saying that should be a penalty, and it should be a red card for a deliberate handball on the line. And Chris Kavanagh and the VAR Neil Swarbrick have a decision to make. Mickey, you're watching a replay right now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we have to say it's the best move from the game from Manchester United. Look, his arm is across the side of his body, and I've got to say, if Willian has got himself back from this situation, he's done brilliant. Now look, it's going to VAR now, Jim, and this might be given as a penalty, I'm not sure, and it's a lifeline if it is for Manchester United. I said it's the best move of the game from them. Brilliant from Antony, brilliant from Jadon Sancho. I thought the opportunity had gone when he just skipped by the goalkeeper, but it looks like they're going to be Marco Silva's going crazy. He's gone absolutely crazy in the technical area, because I think he knows what's coming.
Well, the referee has been called over to the referee review area. Marco Silva is 2 feet away from fourth official David Coote, and Luis Boa-Morte has had to come across to tell Marco Silva to get out of the way. Marco Silva's going to get himself sent off. He's ejected from the technical area, and still he's having a go at David Coote. Luis Boa-Morte acting as the peacemaker to start with. He couldn't help himself. Silva then going across to have a word with the referee whilst he was in the review area. Now the decision is Willian's arm in a natural position? This is a penalty. I think it'll be a red card as well, because if it's deemed to be a deliberate handball, and it is, it's going to be a penalty, and it is a red card. It's a moment that could change the game. And Mitrovic, is that a red card as well for dissent? And Fulham all of a sudden are down to 9. And Luis Boa-Morte's had to come onto the pitch near the edge of the centre circle to try and get Mitrovic away, and he's going back after the referee. There's real anger here amongst the Fulham players. Willian sent off for a deliberate handball. Mitrovic sent off for foul and abusive language. Fulham losing their heads. Marco Silva also dismissed from the technical area. It is a massive moment. Now Fulham are saying that it shouldn't be a penalty because Willian's arm was in a natural position down to his right hand side, and that the ball would have hit him, even if it hadn't hit his arm, would still have hit him and diverted wide. My view is, I don't know what you think, Mickey, that the decision is the correct one, that the arm did move towards the ball, it was deliberate handball. The decision of the penalty is correct. As soon as the penalty was going to be given, the red card was inevitable. Mitrovic has possibly blasphemed his way into the book, so he's off as well. Fulham in such a position of strength. They were 1-0 up with 20 minutes to go. And now they're still 1-0 up. They've got a penalty to face, and they're 2 men down. And the referee has sent Marco Silva off as well. And now the fourth official, David Coote, has got Fulham staff all around him. Stuart Gray is down there. He's having a word. Luis Boa-Morte. See Hugo Oliveira down there. To say that tensions and tempers are running high doesn't even begin to describe it.
Well, I have to say, Jim, I mean, we've obviously not heard the last of this. I mean, Marco Silva is absolutely fuming as he walked down that tunnel. And that's where it all began. From that penalty decision that went against his side, you could see him, he threw the bottle to the ground as he saw the referee coming across, Chris Kavanagh, to have a look at the monitor. Then the penalty was given. Marco Silva with a first red card. He had to give Willian, after he'd made the decision, he had to give him a yellow card. He was disappointed. But then the reaction of Mitrovic. You cannot do what he's just done to a referee. He's basically fronted him up. He's obviously used bad language. The referee's got no other decision to make than to give him that red card. They're down to end after 71 minutes. They were in control of this game. The best move for Manchester United. Now they have this penalty,
which Bruno Fernandes will take. Right-footed. It's 1-1. He sent Bernardo the wrong way. Rolls it into the bottom right-hand corner. And that is an outpouring of relief, as much as celebration from the Manchester United fans. The game has turned in an instant, on the flick of a hand. Manchester United are now level with a two-man advantage. Well, I've seen plenty at Old Trafford down the years, but I don't ever remember seeing 3 red cards in the space of a minute. All of them, I think, inevitable. Marco Silva for the angry reaction, Willian for the handball, and Mitrovic as well as the descent. There was a push, I think, in the chest of referee Kavanagh. And now Fulham still in the cup with 15 minutes to go, but they're down to 9 men. How do they reorganise themselves here to hang on grimly, to get to 90 minutes first of all, then to get through? If they can do that, then get to extra time, they've got to get through it. Everything overwhelmingly in Manchester United's favour now, on a day where they really haven't played well. But one moment has changed the course of the afternoon like you wouldn't believe. Jadon Sancho finding Luke Shaw. Shaw in! Sabitzer scores! And the 9 men hung on to parity for a minute and a half.
Well, I mean, this is just absolutely incredible. I back up what you've just mentioned there, Jim. I've never seen anything like that on a football pitch as a player or as a pundit. The game has just completely turned on its head, and Fulham just don't know what they're doing. They're down to 9 men. They're all over the place. It's a great move from Manchester United's point of view, and a lovely little ball into the area, and Sabitzer just got to make contact with it to fire that ball into the back of the net. But from being in such control of this game like Fulham were, in the space of 7 or 8 minutes, they now find themselves 2-1 behind, down to 9 men, and no manager left in the technical area. Absolutely incredible scenes here at Old Trafford.
Some finish that from Sabitzer. Luke Shaw driving it in. Sabitzer was behind him on the edge of the 6-yard box and was able just to almost side on, get a little flick with his right Achilles in past Bernd Leno. And Manchester United have turned it around. They are, though, checking the goal.
He's onside for me, Jim. I think they're looking at Luke Shaw as he goes that give and go with Bruno Fernandes down the left-hand side. I looked across the line. He looked onside to me. It's just maybe a matter of case whether Sabitzer's in an offside position, but not for me. The goal stands.
United's goal, score number 15, Marcel Sabitzer. And
Sabitzer has put them ahead. His first Manchester United goal. It's actually the 119th goal of his career. I mean, he always had the ability, in playing in the Bundesliga, to be able to pop up at the right place at the right time, and he's done it for the first time in a Manchester United shirt. Manchester United 2, Fulham 1. And the Fulham fans away to our right-hand side, silenced. Almost a collective rise, shake of the head. They can't believe what they've seen. They're in complete control. Pereira takes a free kick, swung inside the area. Palhinha chases after it, beats him, goes over the line and out of play for a throw that Manchester United will take on the right-hand side. Manchester United 2, 9-man Fulham 1 on Talksport.
Well, Jim, I mean, the game itself from a Fulham perspective has pretty much got out of hand, hasn't it? Let's hope it doesn't get any worse for Fulham. We don't want to see anybody else leaving the football field. It's bad enough them being down to 9 men. Look, I think understandable. You can agree that the red card for Willian is the right decision, but what is Mitrovic doing? He does not need to get involved in it whatsoever. He's just seen his manager being sent off. The last thing he needs to do, and we know he's got that fiery temper, is go up to the referee and make contact with him, because we know exactly what's going to come. He just reached into his top pocket and that red card came out, and he's just made, well, this hill into a mountain now, because Fulham have got absolutely no chance to get back into this game now. It would be a miracle if they did. And Manchester United, you talk about a let-off and a lifeline and an opportunity to get to Wembley again in the semi-final. Well, they've just been given one. We've just been given 3.
Sancho, Weghorst. And it's claimed by Bernd Leno at his near post. There are 10 minutes to go. There's going to be quite a bit of stoppage time to be added on after everything that unfolded. I think there was a good 4-5 minutes between the award of the penalty against Willian, or the offence anyway, and the actual taking of the spot kick. Here's Kenny Tete playing it forward for Bobby Decord over Reed. At Fulham, incidentally, because I know you're wondering, they're going 4-3-1, but it is kind of 4-4-0. They're just doing everything they can, and they're going to be wholly reliant, you would imagine, on an isolated set piece. Here's Rashford. Rashford going down, edge of the penalty area, no foul. Leno will clear, and Harry Maguire will get on the end of Van, trying to let it roll out of play for a throw, which Maguire will take and go back for Sandro Martinez. Back from him to Bruno Fernandes inside the centre circle. You listen to Manchester United against Fulham in the FA Cup quarter-final. It's live on Talksport with Carling, the official beer partner of the Emirates FA Cup. 18 plus. Please drink responsibly.
I think I'm still in shock, Jim. I've got to be completely honest with you, because I keep going back to the 70 minutes that we saw with Fulham with 11 men. They were in control. They were the ones who looked as if they were going to get the second goal. They had those 2 opportunities from Mitrovic, or he should have actually put the ball in the back of the net. But then, just in a split moment, that break from Manchester United, from Anthony to Sancho to Willian helping out at the back, when the decision went against them, it was just a matter of time before Manchester United got themselves back into the game with that Bruno Fernandes penalty. But absolutely incredible what we've seen today. And I mean, I don't know what the interview is going to be like, and even if he's allowed to do it, Marco Silva at the end of the game, but I bet his face is like thunder in that dressing room right now.
I'll tread very carefully. He's well, there is a camera shot of him in the tunnel, and he's pacing up and down the tunnel, where it'll be like looking through a letterbox for him, really. He can't see very much of the pitch from the position that he's in, but he'll be fuming. Marcus Rashford can come off with the game seemingly safe, a goal advantage and a 2-man advantage. Rashford will come off, and Fred is going to come on to replace him. A goal for Rashford today, but another win bonus imminent, you would imagine. 7 to go. Fred on for Rashford for Manchester United.
Yeah, and I think it's the right move. Obviously a lot of important games coming up for Manchester United. They've got to keep their star players as fresh as they possibly can. And Fred's done pretty well in the FA Cup this season. I think he's got a couple of goals himself, hasn't he? So that gives him an opportunity. He's playing against 9 men. Looks like he's playing in an advanced midfield position to maybe get himself on the score sheet today also. Yeah, chance for an FA Cup hat-trick, really, having netted in each of the last 2 here. He scored against Reading. Casemiro got the other 2. He scored a goal deep in stoppage time against West Ham in another 3-1 win. Tom Kearney will be coming on for Fulham very shortly, and so too Cedric, a defender on loan from Arsenal. Remember, Brighton play the winners of Manchester United against Fulham, and it's 2-1 to United. Fulham are down to 9. Fred playing the ball out to the right-hand side for Wan-Bissaka. Wan-Bissaka on the right-hand touchline. Anthony laying it back for Fred. And Fred, not the best ball, but Bruno Fernandes had all the time in the world to bring it under control. Just had to retrace his steps slightly. Now it goes out towards Anthony again on the Manchester United right, and he's tackled himself. It's gone out of play. He clearly thought that it took a touch off Robinson on its way.
The referee didn't. It is actually going to be a triple change for Fulham. Dan James will be joining Cedric and Kearney in coming on. James, the former Manchester United player who scored the last time the two sides met in a game that was a hugely entertaining second half that day as well down at Craven Cottage. Privileged to be there that day. Garnacho scored a frantic last-minute winner, brilliantly taken goal in stoppage time to give Manchester United a 2-1 success on the banks of the Thames. Here's Shaw playing it in, Fred flicking it on. Anthony's got it, right-hand side of the penalty area, pull back, Sabitzer, straight into the hands of Bernd Leno, and it remains 2-1 to the 11 men against the 9.
It'll be interesting to see who's actually made these decisions of the substitutions, whether it's come from Marco Silva in the tunnel at Old Trafford, or whether Luis Boamorte's actually had to make that decision himself and maybe thinking about their important players, maybe looking at those games against Bournemouth and against West Ham United that they got coming up, which are hugely important to try and keep them in the position that they find themselves in the Premier League right now.
Well, immediately after this game, we'll be down getting interviews with the headline makers, which will of course include Marco Silva. We'll do everything we can to get his reaction to you first here on Talksport. We'll speak to Eric Ten Hag as well. The boot room then follows us from 7, and your reaction to an extraordinary afternoon on 03717 223344. England will take on Italy this Thursday as the Euro 2024 qualifiers get underway. Talksport bringing you full live commentary from Naples. A week from now we'll be at Wembley for England-Ukraine as Manchester United bring it forward again, but too much on Weghorst ball for Sabitzer. Coming up April the 1st, Showdown Saturday. And we'll bring you live exclusive coverage of Manchester City-Liverpool at lunchtime. And then later that evening, Anthony Joshua's heavyweight clash against Jermaine Franklin. That's all to come. Showdown Saturday in a couple of weekends' time. Anthony's got the ball here for Manchester United. It's going to be a quadruple change for Fulham. Manor Solomon also will be coming on. Long ball over the top. Anthony slid in on the edge of the penalty area. Couldn't get there. So half the outfield players are going to be changed in one go for Fulham in a moment. Bruno Fernandes on halfway. Finding Luke Shaw. Shaw to Sabitzer. 2-1 to United with 4 minutes plus maybe 6 minutes of stoppage time to be added after that. Is Wan-Bissaka on the right flank. Back for Bruno Fernandes again. If Fulham can rescue this, it will be an FA Cup tie that is talked about for all eternity. Here's Martinez to Maguire. Maguire on the edge of the centre circle. Fred, back for Maguire. To Bruno Fernandes. And Fernandes down towards Luke Shaw. Shaw square to his right-hand side for Fred. Fred into the feet of Anthony. Anthony to Wan-Bissaka. Wan-Bissaka right-hand side of the penalty area playing it in, and then it'll be cleared easily by Ream. Maguire though winning it back. Pereira couldn't get on the end of the out ball. Weghorst with the layoff. Anthony taking it on, and Anthony trying to get around Leno, but he couldn't beat Diop as well. And Robinson will prevent it going out of play for a corner. As though he'd lost out to Weghorst for a moment. And Fulham are going to be able to bring it away, and Robinson will chip it out of harm's way, but straight to Maguire. Can't get out of their own half. No, they can't even get the ball off the field to make the substitutions. Yeah, you're right, Jim. It's so difficult, isn't it, for Fulham now? We're having no outlet. I thought we were going to see a wonder goal there from Anthony. We might yet. He's fired one in, and Bernd Leno has been able to claim it, and then bravely came out and saved at the feet of Wout Weghorst. Yeah, great play in the last minute or so from Anthony. Wonderful feet, just skipping by Leno in that Fulham goal. But then this occasion, just at the edge of the 18-yard area, super left foot strike. Simple save for the goalkeeper, pretty much down his throat. But I think Fulham are basically just trying to see out this game. Look, I don't even know if these substitutions that have been simply waiting there for about 3 or 4 minutes are actually going to get onto the field. The ball doesn't seem to be wanting to go out of play. Ream for Palhinha with a good ball forward. Harrison Reed, who's chased everything, brings it forward. Shaw concedes the throw, and now they can make the changes, and there will be 4 of them. So Kenny Tete coming off, and Cedric will replace him at right back. The next change will see Decordova-Reid come off, and Manor Solomon, the Israeli who's been in great goal scoring form, comes on for him. Dan James will replace Harrison Reed, who looks absolutely shattered. He's covered so much ground. And Tom Kearney comes on for Pereira.
Well, changes that I think, they're expected. It's just, it's a shame, obviously, the way the game's gone for Fulham, but I think the important thing for them, Jim, is they're looking at those two games that I was talking about just before, Bournemouth and West Ham, because they find themselves in a really good position in the Premier League at the moment. They don't want to slip up from where they are right now. If they can keep picking up maximum points in the Premier League, they're going to have a fantastic finish to the league when it comes to the end of the season. But the game was done and dusted. It all boils down to those 3 sendings off in the space of a minute for Fulham, turned on its head. I think we're now going to see Manchester United getting themselves into another cup semi-final, but do they deserve it? That's what it's going to come down to.
Thank you for your fantastic support.
Crowd of not too far short of 74,000 here today. The vast majority of them delighted with the scoreline. I think that there'll be a real honesty in terms of the appraisal of the Manchester United performance, but it's cup football, and when it comes down to it, get the job done. It's all that matters. And they're going to be playing Brighton in the semi-final unless there's an extraordinary fight back from the 9 men of Fulham. Back he goes towards David De Gea. It's just a little shove from Mitrovic. Just seen another replay of it. There are 7 minutes of added time that separate Manchester United from the semi-finals. And as soon as you raise your hand, and he hasn't pushed him, it's not Di Canio and Alcock. He's not really shoved him over, but there is almost contact with the back of the hand, a little flick, not much in it, but he's raised it into the upper body of the referee. And Chris Kavanagh's got no option. Bruno Fernandes for Fred, for Wan-Bissaka, and it's deflected away. And of course the irony is, Mickey, if Willian hadn't managed to get back and get the 35-year-old legs back to try and make the goal line clearance, if he hadn't got back, goes in for 1-1, it's still very much game on.
Yeah, no, absolutely, and you're still in the tie. You've still got 11 men. Well, unfortunately, obviously, Willian he's got himself in the book. I really feel for him, I have to say that, because I'm sure that social media has gone crazy at the moment from Fulham supporters saying, well, what has he done? His arms are close to his body. Where else can he put it? But if you think of his hands out the way, I know it's just a corner being taken here,
which is flicked on at the near post but into the side netting, and it's another corner.
Yeah, so I'll go back to those Fulham supporters. They've probably seen so many replays of it and thinking, well, okay, his arms across his body, but if it's not and it doesn't make contact with his hand, the ball does find its way into the back of the net. You're right, Jim, and it is 1-1, and that was a complete turning point in the game. But everybody just lost their heads. The manager, the players, they are absolutely fuming.
In comes the corner deep, picked up by Jadon Sancho, left-hand side of the penalty area. He's bent it back in. It's a good defensive header. 9 men still hanging on, and attempted an overhead from Weghorst. Is whacked away by Ream, brought down by Shaw, but it's hit him really. He couldn't control it, and gone out of play for a Fulham throw. Cedric taking it quickly. And that'll be played back to him on the right-hand touchline by Tom Kearney, a perennial substitute these days for Fulham. And the ball bypasses Dan James and goes out of play for a throw that Martinez will take. 5 minutes of stoppage time to go. Manchester United 2, 9-man Fulham 1. Shaw goes back for Bruno Fernandes.
Yeah, just quickly going back to those red cards as well, Jim, because I'm sure we're going to talk about it a lot. But Marco Silva doesn't need to get sent off. He's frustrated, of course he is, but he doesn't need to react to the referee when he's walking across to the monitor. We still don't know at that time what decision he's going to make. I think 99.9% of the time we do, but he hadn't made a decision. But then for Mitrovic to do what he's actually done, you can't do that as a player. Cannot make contact with a referee. He's shoved into the side of him. It doesn't matter how much malice is in it. He knows exactly what's happening. As soon as he's done that, we don't know what words have come out of his mouth, but the referee's probably made his decision before actually Mitrovic has said something to him.
Challenge from Martinez. He took the ball cleanly, but there was an inevitability that he was going to be upending Dan James in the process. Cedric telling James to get back to his feet as quickly as he can. It is a Fulham throw, only about 25 yards from the corner flag. 4 minutes of stoppage time to play. Fulham trailing by 2-1, down to 9 men after red cards for Willian and Mitrovic. And James still aching after the severity of that challenge from Lisandro Martinez. Fulham get another throw. It's back for Cedric. Cedric tried to turn, keeps it in under pressure from Sancho, forced to go back for Diop. Diop really didn't want to go back, but he had no option with Weghorst putting the pressure on. Leno's got it. Leno just chipping it forward over halfway. Cedric going up for it, heads it on, trying to get James in behind Shaw. Sancho wins it back, and then Sabitzer turns it back for Sancho in midfield. And Manchester United have got solid possession again inside their own half with Lisandro Martinez. Down towards Shaw. This is an FA Cup tie that really could have developed so differently. Fulham well on top, 1-0 up when the moment of controversy happened. Wan-Bissaka over on the right hand side of the area, and describing it as a moment of controversy, let me state my own personal opinion, and I think yours as well, Mickey. The decisions were correct.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Every single red card that was given was the correct decision. We look at the letter of the law, and where Willian's hand was, you have to send him off. He's the last line of defence. He's got his arm in the way as Sancho takes that shot, and he gives the referee a decision to make where he's got to send him off. But the manager and also Mitrovic, you have to question what they do in that situation, because as you mentioned there before, Jim, they're still in the tie at 1-1. They are still in the tie.
Well, I don't ever remember that at Old Trafford before, that the man of the match award has been given to an opposition player, João Palhinha.
Wow. Yeah, that's incredible. I've been here on a couple of occasions this season. I think Anthony actually won a man of the match one week, and everybody was surprised. But
here's Fred bringing it forward. Manchester United looking for a third. Bruno Fernandes. Another FA Cup tie. The same result. It's going to be a 3-1 victory for Manchester United in a fourth successive round. And they are through to a record-breaking 31st FA Cup semi-final. Brighton away. Bruno Fernandes with a decisive blow on an afternoon of the highest drama. 0-0 at half-time. Fulham ahead, much the better side. But 2 red cards to players and 1 to management. 3 goals in the last 15 minutes. And in the FA Cup, this has been business as usual. Manchester United 3, Fulham 1.
Well, I think, when you've got 9 players, it's really difficult to defend against every bit of movement from Manchester United. Look, they've been professional, they've got the job done in the second half. Bruno Fernandes with his second goal, he's not going to miss from that angle there. He's just played, he's got so much time to pick his spot and get enough pace on it to just fire that ball past Bernd Leno. But you start to feel for Fulham a little bit. Look, we're closing in on the final whistle here, but I think 2-1. But 3-1, I don't think they deserved that. For 72 minutes, I thought Fulham were absolutely superb today. I really do. And take nothing away from Bruno Fernandes and he's finished there. But we're now going to be talking about Manchester United semi-final, Wembley against Brighton.
Bruno Fernandes, with the last kick of the game, adding a little bit of gloss to it. His 10th goal of the season, his 60th in Manchester United colours. What an absorbing, fascinating and controversial last 15 minutes of the game, which all hinged around a handball from Willian, for which he was sent off. Mitrovic sent off for dissent, pushing the referee. Marco Silva sent off as well. Fulham losing their heads, losing the lead, and ultimately losing their place in the FA Cup. It's Manchester United through to the semi-finals. Yet another cup win at Old Trafford, their 12th in a row in all competitions this season. They've beaten Fulham by 3-1, and they will play Brighton in the FA Cup semi-finals.
Jim, thank you very much. Wow, what a game, what drama we've had. It's the very definition of footballing self-destruction. Absolute heads gone from Fulham, whose own stupidity got them knocked out of the FA Cup when they had a semi-final virtually sorted. They were completely in control of the game. They were leading any stats you like in the game. They were leading the game 1-0. They were virtually there. And then 265 seconds of utter madness. Willian handball, not seen by the ref. He goes to the screen. Marco Silva has a rant at him. That's a red card. The manager's sent off. Referee gives a penalty. Mitrovic doesn't like it, grabs the referee, little shove on him. Red card, rightly so. Willian red card. Penalty tucked away. A couple of minutes later, Man United go 2-1 up. They get a third to seal it. Utter insanity from Fulham, whose players now go over to the fans. Fans were brilliant, by the way, singing all the way through the game. Fantastic from them. They probably deserve better than they got from their manager, their talismanic striker as well. Appalling discipline from Fulham when they had a semi-final place in the bag. Those players who were left on the field go over, there's waves, there's applause to the fans, and to be fair to those fans, they are singing the praises of those players as well. But it's a day of shame really for Fulham when it could have been a day of glory for them. Mickey Gray, I mean, I don't think I've seen anything quite like it in such a short space of time. Fulham completely in control, and then they basically took out a massive gun, aimed at their foot and blasted away. What were they doing?
I'm with you, Adrian. I've not seen anything like that on a football field before. It was just a huge surprise. Look, you can be disappointed as a manager in a technical area when you think that a decision is going to go against you. Now, Willian has done brilliantly to get himself back on the goal line initially. But I think when we see that ball making contact with his hand, look, he's going to plead innocence. There's no doubt. Every player's going to do that. But I think we're all in agreement where we're sat here and we saw the replays. The ball actually made contact with his hand. It was the right decision. VAR came across, the referee came across to the monitor. He had a look. He had to give the penalty and he had to give the red card. But we could have done without Marco Silva throwing a bottle initially before the decision was actually made, then giving the referee a decision to come across to send him off. I don't know what was said between the two of them, but straight red card. Ridiculous from the manager. But then for Alexander Mitrovic, your talisman, your star man, to come across, to make contact with the referee and pretty much shove his arm out of the way, then say what he said to the referee. Again, no doubt in the referee's mind, he had to give him a yellow card. Tie over, but even if they score the penalty and Willian gets sent off, you're down to 10 men. You're still in the FA Cup quarter-final. You've got a chance of still getting to the semi-final. They have completely just blew this tie out the window and just given Manchester United, who were poor today, a lifeline to go and play at Wembley against Brighton.
Extraordinary stuff from Fulham. Let's be clear, I don't think any of the decisions are wrong. It's a definite penalty and it's definitely 3 reds. So we're agreed on that. So what exactly is Marco Silva upset about, and what exactly is Mitrovic upset about? I don't get it.
Well, how many times have we seen it? We've talked about this season about managers being too irate in the technical area,
too emotional,
where they're supposed to be the calming influence and the players have to react from what the manager does in the technical area. Well, if that was the case, then Mitrovic has reacted from what he saw in the technical area from his manager. You cannot do that. What Marco Silva's done today, it's completely out of order. Then his players have just lost their heads. Mitrovic has lost his head. He should have still been on the field. He played really well today in the second half. He could have actually won the tie for them with those 2 headers that he had. Now, by that sending off, he's lost his side the game. He really has. I mean, it was just, you said it, Adrian, heads just completely gone. I feel for Willian. I mentioned that before. I thought he was brilliant today. I really do. I thought he was a real threat when he was on the ball. He looked as if he was enjoying his football. I'll have to look from where his run actually started from for him to get back onto the goal line. I thought he'd done brilliant to get there in the first place. So I've got a bit of sympathy for him, I have to say. But Fulham have just completely given that to Man United on a plate in the last 20 minutes of that game.
It really was an extraordinary couple of minutes from a Fulham point of view, and they have let Manchester United off the hook, because the scoreline suggests that, that was comfortable for Man United. They were second best until Fulham went down to 9 men and Manchester United sealed it. But by and large, you have to say, Manchester United were pretty shocking. They were play, weren't they?
Yeah, and, I've not said it very, very many times this season. I think you can maybe look at that Liverpool performance a few weeks ago where they were really poor at the beginning of the season when they played against Brighton and lost here at Old Trafford. Other than that, they've competed. But for 70 minutes today, and I think it stands out like a sore thumb when Casemiro's not in the starting 11. Varane's not playing at the back. I know Christian Eriksen's out for the rest of the season, but you can see now the old guns are starting to, or the old guards are starting to come back into the side with McTominay, who I thought was really poor today. I've got to say that. But there was just no fluidity about the way that they played today. The football, they kept giving the ball away. They never really looked like creating any chances. Even with those 22 minutes to go at the end of the game, it looked like it was in Fulham's hands to go into the semi-final. I thought it was a really poor performance. and keep going back to this. I think they've just been given such a lifeline today to get themselves into the semi-final. I really do.
Yeah, they have. They've got away with one today, Manchester United. I don't think there's any. I don't think anybody, even the staunchest Man United fan, would disagree with that. You could argue that Sancho's great play has forced the error from Willian. I suppose you could argue that, and you know, he had a great chance to score. Sancho probably would have made it 1-1. So yeah, you could argue, yeah, they were getting themselves back into the game. But up until that point, it was Fulham who were. You could just check the stats at that point. They were in charge of possession, chances, shots on target, and they were 1-0 up in the tie as well. But something truly extraordinary today has happened here at Old Trafford. One thing I must mention, you remember the 7-0, obviously you remember the 7-0 Liverpool defeats a few weeks ago. Bruno Fernandes put his hands on the lino, the assistant referee, and there was no further action taken there during the game or after the game as well. And I think Mitrovic's shove on the referee here, I think it was more physical than what Bruno Fernandes did, but it's still hands-on a match official during the game. So I think that quite a few people will have a look at that clear contradiction, a United player getting away with putting his hands on an official, a Fulham player being sent off against United for putting his hands on the official. You know, there are fans who don't like Man United who will pull that one out and say, well, hang on a minute, Man United, that's outrageous, that's not fair. Manchester United getting a big decision again.
Yeah, 100%, Adrian. I mean, you've got it completely right. I mean, you know, as a player, you have to walk onto that football field and you have to be professional for the 90, 97 minutes, whatever it might be. You get on with your job. The last thing you are thinking about is manhandling a referee or manhandling a linesman, as Bruno Fernandes did at Liverpool. So let's say that Bruno got away with one. You cannot do that. You are told the rules and the laws by a referee that comes to see you before the beginning of any season, and they tell you what you can and cannot do. But you know that yourself. You know, your brain will say to you, if I make contact with this referee now, I know exactly what's going to happen to me. I'm going to get sent off. It's so silly from Mitrovic. Look, we know he's got that in him. He's a fiery character, but you've got to calm yourself at those certain times of a football game. It was just so stupid, right in front of the fourth official. The referee stood there. He's just seen his manager being sent off. You can't do it. You just can't do it. He's basically lost the tie for Fulham this afternoon.
I reckon as well there might be further action on Mitrovic. This won't just be a 3-game ban. David, they're on the halfway line pretty much, in the middle of the pitch, and he's still, after getting the red, after seeing the red card flashed in front of his face by the referee, he is still with the referee. He won't leave the field. He's still haranguing the referee to the point where Willian has to chase back after he's going to get a red card himself. He has to chase back to try and keep Mitrovic away from the ref. David De Gea runs from his goal to try and keep Mitrovic away from the ref. This was a player, Alexander Mitrovic, completely out of control, needed other grown men to stop him harassing a referee. I can't see it just stopping at a 3-game ban.
No, I think there's going to be ramifications after this game. I mean, Jim's obviously just gone down to speak to Marco Silva, and it's going to be interesting to see what the manager says, how he thought that was not a penalty. I'm sure he's a Fulham manager. Of course he doesn't think it's a penalty. But I think when he sees it again, he'll understand why it's being given. But then he has to answer the questions of why he reacted the way that he did. And I talked about this. You're only as good as your manager. You see what your manager's doing in that technical area, and you've got to react to the way that he's maybe portraying himself in the technical area. Mitrovic has not done that. And then you see the melee of the players running around the referee in that centre circle just after he's given that penalty. It seems like you don't want to see on a football match, but I think we're seeing it too often these days.
No, I agree with you, and I think that this might be a watershed moment where referees start to get a bit more protection from over-emotional, irate, angry managers on the sidelines. Mikel Arteta has got away with it all season. Others have been less fortunate than him. But what has happened here today, this has to be a watershed moment in terms of how referees and officials are treated by players. And in particular, I think you're right, Mickey, managers on the touchline, in the technical area, just blatantly disrespecting the officials. I saw Mikel Arteta the other week just blatantly mocking a referee who was ordering a substitution. The fingers were going round and round, and Mikel Arteta just stood there blatantly mocking him, making the crowd laugh. That's belittling a match official. Literally nothing was done about that. And then you've got Marco Silva, and the decision, by the way, hasn't even been given, and Marco Silva's still fuming with the referee as he's trying to look at the monitor. It's just not acceptable anymore, and something really does have to be done about it.
That's the important part that you've just brought up there, Aidan. The decision had not been made. I think we all knew what was coming. Yeah, because I think whenever a referee comes across and has a look at that monitor, you could hear the cheers from the Manchester United supporters. They were hoping and praying that penalty was going to be given, and I think we were all sat here probably in agreement that the penalty was going to be given. But there's been certain managers who've been in that technical area who've had bans for just throwing a bottle in that technical area. Jose Mourinho, I think, was one of them who kicked a basket of bottles of water. Now, Marco Silva has a bottle in his hand, he just throws it to the ground, and that's even before the referees come across to have a look at the monitor. I think he knew he was coming across, but he was fuming inside because his side were in control. But he just completely let that slip in the last 18-20 minutes of that game. We saw pictures of him, didn't we, in the tunnel for the last 15 minutes of the game. I mean, he was just striding up and down. He couldn't really see what was going on in the game, but he's got no dictatorship of what's going to happen in the final 18 minutes of that game, because the stupidity is he's being sent off and two of his players had to walk down the tunnel as well.
Well, we will try and get reaction from Marco Silva. We will have reaction from the Manchester United camp, Erik ten Hag, and some players as well. Jim Proudfoot is down there doing the interviews. We'll have them either on this show or in the boot room, which is coming up next on Talksport from 7. 03717 223344. Plenty of you will want your say on the FA Cup action we've seen today and witnessed here on Talksport at Old Trafford as well. Right, let's catch up with the Saudi Arabia Grand Prix. Did Sergio Perez hold on in the end? Fern Buckley.